Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be at PlantCon 2024 in Dallas, Texas. This is day one, part 2 of my series. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button, as well as following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. If you like daily 1-hour plant shopping videos, subscribe to my channel with the notification bell on. You can see right off the bat that this is part of my series of the PlantCon 2024 Dallas edition. I've already had 2 videos up previously from this one, so if you haven't checked that out, please definitely do. We are going to be featuring some more vendors, and you can see right here we have a succulents and cactus vendor here. We've got an array of different types of succulents and cactus available. I don't really know a lot about cactus and succulents, so I'm just going to really pan over here and just show you the different types of varieties of cactus and succulents. To all of the plant foldies I did meet out in at PlantCon this past weekend. Really appreciate you guys coming out. It was really fun. My friend Janae Simone was out as well, and we just had a really good time looking at different types of plants. I learned quite a bit about plants in general from all of the people I talked to at PlantCon. And for those that have never made it to a plant convention, I did want to make these videos so that way you can see what to expect at a plant convention. It is a lot of fun. I was able to meet quite a bit of people, make some different types of connections, and then also to the media that does PlantCon. Thank you so much for just being so accommodating to me. I really appreciate it. But as you can see right here, we've got some more uncommon and rare different types of Sansevieria or snake plants right here. I'm trying to find the plant ID for this. I'm not sure what it is, but this one is quite interesting. They have some different variegation. This one is just a typical starfish one. I love that. It's easy to care for, and with a lot of the snake plant type plants, they are more succulent. More succulent in the way that their watering needs are. You don't really want to overwater or water them. It's actually advisable to have these Sansevieria or snake plants in fast draining soil. If you notice here, it's got more of a porous type of soil substrate. Love the variegation of this one as well. I don't know all of the specific plant IDs for these specific snake plants. What's interesting about snake plants though is they are marketed as an easy care plant. I would say for the most part they are, except that people will say that they are just really low light tolerant. They are low light tolerant, but to get the best variegation, best growth, you definitely want to give your Sansevieria or snake plants more light. More light makes a plant more vigorous in its growth. It's a little bit faster in its growth habit. You get better colors and just a more healthy plant. Just think of them being able to photosynthesize a little bit more. And now we're going to go to Ivy Plants, which is a local plant vendor in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I am based out in North Dallas, and it's really cool that this particular vendor, Veronica of Ivy Plants, has so many cool plants. Now these plants I believe are sourced from overseas. I think Thailand. I'm not 100% sure, but what I do know is that they have some amazing uncommon and rare plants. You can see right here is an Epipremnum aureum Manjula pothos mutant. It's got different variegation, and then as I pan around over here, we are looking at a beautiful mature Epipremnum aureum Enjoy pothos. Now this one is for $110, but look at how massive the leaves are. Really large leaves. I always say if you want a cheaper alternative to like a Monstera albo or a variegated Monstera, grow yourself a pothos plant up a totem pole or moss pole. They will get larger leaves, and if they get up to a pole like really tall, they might even fenestrate or split their leaves. In my previous PlantCon video, I did feature a bunch of Japanese pothos, the Teruno World Series, so definitely check out part 2. We are currently watching part 3 of this day 1 footage, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Plant foldies, if you haven't already, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. I cannot tell you how much it helps my channel out, how much it reaches more people when you guys take the time just to click the like button, as well as leaving comments for for me to read and also engage. I love that engagement. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, Ivy Plants. I ended up purchasing some plants from Ivy Plants. You can see that is a beautiful Philodendron orange princess, and then over here is a Philodendron Thai sunrise. I love this as well. And what's interesting about this particular Philodendron, let's see how much it costs. I think it's $45 or $65. Beautiful green on green variegation. It is more of a variegated green on green variegated Philodendron lemon lime. Now that one can actually be found down at a grocery store called HEB. So it's interesting, some of these plants end up making it at big box stores. Now over here is a Philodendron, Florida Beauty cross with the Toradum Variegated. Now this is actually one of my wish list plants. It is still quite pricey, but I just love how it's been hybridized with a Philodendron Florida Beauty and a Toradum. You can see that the leaves are a little bit more Toradum shape. And then you can see over here, we have a Philodendron Strawberry Shake. Love the variegation of it. Some people don't find this Philodendron attractive. I definitely do. I ended up purchasing it though from an Indonesian vendor at PlantCon, but this is another one I would definitely purchase if I had just a little bit more money. And this is one of my wish list plants. This is a variegated Philodendron Caramel Marble. This one is for $279.99. Really like the look of this plant as well. It is a plant that I feel like we need to add to our collections. It is one of the serrated type Philodendrons. Now, with any of these variegated plants, I will mention this in every single video that I make. You need to give it bright indirect light for it to really hold its variegation, or at least to get the best coloration. Now, here is a Scindapsus Platinum, and I like that she actually has these plants, and this is only for $36. Not a bad price at all, in sphagnum moss. Some people will grow their plants in sphagnum moss. I don't really grow my plants in sphagnum moss, but you know, it is interesting how certain vendors have different types of substrates that they grow. Beautiful silver foliage. Now with Scindapsus, they are a little bit slower growing as compared to a pothos plant, but needless to say, what Scindapsus has over pothos plants is they have beautiful silver foliage, and they also let you know when they are thirsty. Their leaves start to curl. So you know, there are certain plants that have that characteristic where they get either droopy or the leaves start to curl. Philodendron Nuclear Congo, beautiful variegated Philodendron. I am actually happy that I was able to find a starter plant out of Hives plants for $15, but this one's not bad at all. $32. It's already a fairly good size plant. Again, you know, Ivy plants, they are local to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I believe Ivy plants is also on Palm Street, so definitely check out the live selling there. And then this is an Aglonema, and you already know I love Aglonemas. This is an Aglonema Sunburst Siam. Look at that beautiful pink variegation here. The leaves are a little bit wider and broader, and you know, I love the white stems with a little bit of pink on it as well. Absolutely gorgeous Aglonema. And for those that are not aware of Aglonema, they are some of the easiest plants to take care of. The reason being is they are drought tolerant. You don't have to water them nearly as much. The care conditions for them is you literally just need to wait till the soil dries out completely and then water them. They are marketed as low light tolerant plants. I would say they are, but when they are in low light conditions, they end up being a little bit more leggy. You definitely won't get that beautiful pink variegation like off of this Aglonema Pink Emerald, for instance. So you want to make sure that you give your Aglonema regular waterings. You just wait till the soil dries out completely and give them bright indirect light. Now here is another beautiful Syngonium aurea. Love Syngonium aureas. I was actually in the market for a more variegated Syngonium aurea, so this one's a pretty nice looking specimen. Syngonium aurea is a little bit more unstable in terms of its variegation, so if you start seeing it push out more green leaves, you might want to just chop it back to promote more variegation. That's what some people have to do, and you know, with variegated plants, that is just the upkeep of it. Now this is what I've been looking for all PlantCon. Syngonium Thong. Look at how beautiful these leaves are. They are larger, rounder leaves. That pink veining is awesome. And then that's sectoral variegation it has. This is only for $35, and most people would be selling this plant for like 70 plus for this size. So you already know, plant foldies. I mentioned how I had a plant budget at PlantCon. Let's just say my budget is probably close to one's mortgage payment, but you know what? You only live once, or at least I keep telling myself that. We'll see. But anyways, I definitely am going to get Syngonium Ormthong. This is another beautiful Syngonium Strawberry Ice. Beautiful Syngonium Strawberry Ice. And what you want to look at for Syngonium Strawberry Ice is that it has that cream pink variegation. And then again, we have this Epipremnum aureum Enjoy Pothos, just the large leaves. Really nice looking plant. It will need to be on a pole for it to continue to have that large leaf. And then this is a variegated Rhaphidophora hyee, or a variegated shingles plant. I've never seen one in person, and this definitely needs to have some type of plank or some type of wall for it to attach to. And then again, we're looking at this Syngonium ormthong. So plant foldies, let me know what you think. Again, I highly recommend IV plants. Veronica is really sweet. I was so happy to have met her, and I just really love the fact that a lot of her plants are sourced out from overseas, so we get these beautiful variegations of different types of Syngoniums, Monsteras, Philodendrons, Aglaonemas, just they're all over. You can see right here, this is a Syngonium pink confetti, beautiful plant. And you can see that this particular Syngonium has a little bit more of a narrow shape arrowhead for it. And then again, with Syngoniums in general, for them to have the beautiful speckling, the variegation, the growth, you really want to provide them with quite a bit of bright indirect light. Otherwise, they start to lose their coloration, especially for, you know, these Syngoniums right here. Like this one, I believe, is another Syngonium aurea. Syngonium aurea has larger foliage leaves. The thing about it is you have to give it like a pole, some type of stake for it to grow, because its natural habit is to want to grow up versus actually trailing down. And that's the thing, again, plant foldies, with a lot of these plants, you want to mimic the natural growth habit the plant has. For instance, any of these philodendrons that want to climb, you're not going to get the mature leaves, the best variegation on the leaves, unless you provided that particular growth, the natural growth it's supposed to be. So just definitely keep that in mind. Now, this is a variegated philodendron caramel marble. Again, I want one of these. I just can't afford it. $279, I believe, is what it's asking for. And you know, I don't blame the plant vendors at all, because you know what, where they source it, it's probably going to be quite expensive as well. The good thing about a lot of these plants is you can actually wait just a little bit, maybe 6 months to a year, and you'll see some more of these prices going down. Now, as for the vendors, it's not like they're going to be losing that type of money, because there's going to be another beautiful variegated plant that's going to be hot on the market. It's just all about supply and demand. But yes, this Syngonium ormthong, it's already placed on hold because I'm still filming and I didn't want somebody to grab it. I know I'm being selfish, but have you ever been to like a big box store and you're shopping, and then you had people looking at the plant you're about to buy, but it's still on the shelf? Yes, I am that person that will either be very protective, put it in my cart, put it on the side, because I've had it happen where like I was really stuck on a particular plant, and then all of a sudden somebody just grabs it and then you don't get to buy it. Now over here, plant foldies, beautiful Monstera Adansonii. This is the aurea version again, and as you can see right here, IV plants. And I am glad that I was able to feature this plant vendor. Really kind people, and I just love that they have plants that are from overseas. What I like about it is you don't have to really worry about the acclimation period, because they're already acclimated. This is a red Congo variegated plant, so that is super cool. So they've got the green Congo, they've got the red Congo, and you can see just that beautiful variegation. I am thinking that a lot of these plants are actually imported from Thailand, and what I've learned about you know, I guess international plant vendors, like the ones that are from Thailand, specifically Indonesia and even Philippines, the amount of variegated plants or more uncommon rare plants are more, there's just more selection, just because those countries actually have the ideal climate conditions for these particular plants. I know that since my family's originally from the Philippines, I actually took a vacation there back in August, and I will say that you would see a lot of variegated plants just growing out on the sides of the roads. It wasn't a big deal. The concept of quote houseplant, like growing plants indoors, wasn't a thing, because the majority of these plants actually ended up growing outdoors in full sun, and just the humidity and just the climate just really didn't really require them to actually have a lot of quote plant care tips, if that makes any sense. But as you can see here, plant foldies, beautiful variegated Monstera. That one is an elbow, and then there is another variegated Monstera aurea. Now the variegated Variegated Monstera aurea is on my wish list plants. I really love that yellow variegation, you know, neon color plants, yellow plants, green on green variegation. Those are the plant types of aesthetic that I like. And then like this one right here, like I would totally buy this one. I really love the leaves, and there's quite a bit of variegation already. That one is for $89, which actually is not a bad price at all because it's already a 2-leafer that just pushed out new growth. Whenever you are plant shopping, plant foldies, a couple of things you want to keep in mind, especially if you're going big box or plant shopping, is looking for a plant if there's multiple plants in a pot, looking under the sides of the leaves, inspecting it, seeing if there's any type of like pest. And then number 3, finding signs of new growth, whether it's a new leaf that is about to unfurl, if there is another growth point that's about to happen. You just definitely want to take a look at that. Now over here, plant foldies, we've still got several different types of plants from Ivy Plants. I really did try not to get a lot of people in my videos, although, you know, PlantCon was very, very crowded. I will say that. And so you really had to be prepared for the crowds. Luckily for me, I was able to go in 2 hours before everybody else because I got the early access tickets. Again, thank you so much to PlantCon for sponsoring me and being able to give me those tickets. I have enjoyed myself so much, and I will continue to go to every single PlantCon that is available because I want to continue to create this content, you know, at least an hour and a half plant shopping videos, just so more people can get excited, can see what kind of plants were available at PlantCon. I was able to go to the Houston PlantCon earlier this year, and if you haven't seen that video, please definitely check that out. I will be going to the Texas Aeroid show out in Houston, Texas on October 26th. Super excited about that. I'm definitely going to be traveling to that. My family's actually out in North Houston, so it's going to be a 2-in-1 special. I'll be able to see some of my family and then see a bunch of cool plants. But as you can see here, from Ivy Plants, they had a bunch of different types of monsteras. You can see right over here, look at these totem poles and these moss poles that they have. That's another thing that I learned on plant foldies, is to really maximize on the beauty of a lot of these philodendrons and these aeroids in general. You have to give them something to climb on. Most of them want to climb onto something. Most of them are what you call epiphytes, and that's the reason why they want to attach to something. But you can see they even have some starter plants right over here. I wanted to pan on a couple of things. Let's take a look at this one. Like this plant foldies, what do you think about this variegated Synapsis albo? I noticed that there were quite a bit of variegated Synapsis at PlantCon, and we can see right here that is the price. This is a Synapsis Trubii Moonlight variegated. Really like that a lot. I know that one of the major plant vendors, Steve Lee's, has it, and so there was just many vendors that went there. And I did want to shout out every single vendor that had a booth set up. Thank you for taking the time to grow the plants, to transport them, to entertain all of us plant lovers. I definitely want to make sure that I can get as much exposure to everybody's booth. Again, if I didn't make it to your booth, there are going to be other plant cons, and I definitely will do that. Follow me on Instagram. Reach out to me on Instagram if you guys want me to film some of your plants. I'm always looking to do collabs. I'm always looking to promote people's businesses, especially small businesses, because I feel like that's important. Now, as far as like the channel itself, I know I do a lot of big box store plant shopping videos, but my heart is always going to be for the small businesses, especially the local ones in the DFW market. Now, we talk about local. We're now panning over to Green Spaces ID or plantshop.us. This booth is actually a booth that I support as well. They have quite a bit of rare and uncommon Hoyas from Indonesia. So these were actually flown in. These were already, these all have phytosanitary certificates, so they are pest free, because if you're ever going to actually import plants from overseas, you have to have the government, of that country actually have a seal where they are, pest free. They went through the proper protocols before they enter another country like the United States. So I like the fact that Green Spaces ID, if you've never purchased from them online, definitely do. Definitely, actually follow them on their Instagram. You can send them a direct message. They are so fast about responding, and I was able to pick up some of these plants. So that's the thing about some of these international vendors. You can actually pre-order the plants to where you don't have to pay for the shipping, because typically shipping is about $50 to $70 from overseas. But if you're able to pre-order, especially for like PlantCon, I know Texas Rare Aero Show may have a situation where you don't have to pay for the shipping, but these plants will actually make it over to the United States. I know for a fact that I will be trying to get a bunch of Aglaonema from Art Flower Garden, another Indonesian plant seller. We've been in talks already about just what Aglaonema I want. Now, as far as like specific plants, Indonesia in general has some really good Aglaonemas. I would say they lead the entire world in terms of just what Aglaonema hybrids that they are constantly producing, and they also have a plethora of different types of Hoyas. So this video is definitely for somebody who considers themselves a Hoya head. And what a Hoya head is basically somebody who loves Hoyas. I have started to get into Hoyas. Honestly, there are a lot of different types of plants that I've gotten into, and I've talked about my struggle in terms of just some of my plant care, in the fact that I had a lot of plants that just inundated my home to the point where it was very cluttered, to the point where I didn't end up watering my plants, to the point where I ended up sending a bunch of plants to Plant Heaven due to negligence. The good news is PlantCon has really inspired me to number one, take better care of my plants. Number two, have more organization in where I set my plants. So I know everybody has been asking for a house plant tour. Plant Foldies, it is coming. I will definitely show you guys my plant collection. It's not anything impressive, but I am still proud that I have quite a bit of plants to show you. My plant room is underway. I've just been doing a lot with my plants and just really trying to manicure and get them ready for a really nice house plant tour. So if you want to see a house plant tour, I need to see you guys make sure to hit the like button. That's number one. If you've already made it this far and didn't hit the like button, please do, and then just leave a comment about how you want to see a houseplant tour. But as you can see right here, we've got a bunch of Hoyas, and Green Spaces ID, they have them in these little containers with sphagnum moss. I like that just because it's easy to just transfer them into a soil substrate. I would still let them root out a little bit more. Anytime you have a plant from overseas, you want to make sure, like for instance, this is an example of several plants that they have. So they have like Syngoniums, Philodendrons, Monstera Adansonii. You can see right here, we've got some type of Monstera, I think Laturiana, maybe, I'm not 100% sure, but you see how they have them like packaged and wrapped up. That's just to ensure that they make it overseas. But there is a rehab period for these plants, because you got to think they traveled thousands of miles, and a lot of that can be really stressful for the plant. So what I typically do, Plant Foldies, especially with the plants I bought at PlantCon, is if they're in sphagnum moss, I take all of the sphagnum moss off, try to wash away as much of it off of the plant, and then I stick the plant in a Super Thrive water, so that B vitamin is going to actually help replenish the plant. I'll let them sit there for about a week to really acclimate. If the plant doesn't have a very substantial root system, I will wait for like more roots to come around. If it's a plant that needs a little bit more humidity, you could potentially put it in a tub where it just holds more humidity. I didn't have to really do that because I didn't have a lot of plants, and most of the plants like this, for instance, this is another Philodendron, for instance, they don't need to have as much humidity. There's certain plants that are a little bit more humidity sensitive, so you just have to really feel that out. Like for instance, this is a Syngonium Variegated Wallandii, or what you call a Syngonium scrambled eggs. Really like that for $56, but that is a plant that does need a little bit more humidity. It is a little bit more fussy. It is a Syngonium though that is on my wish list, so if you know anybody that can source out one that's a little bit more cost effective, please let me know. And then you can see right here they've got several cups of just plants that they are trying to maintain the humidity. This is a variegated Philodendron micans. That one has more of an Aurea type variegation. And then we talk about Anthuriums. Look at this variegated Anthurium crystallinum, beautiful plant. That one is for a pretty hefty price actually. And the thing about it is I have a newfound love for Anthuriums. I really thought Anthuriums were a little bit more challenging to grow, but honestly they're not. Some people will say they need a lot of humidity, but the two Anthuriums I currently have are now in a pond. So I was actually able to convert them in semi-hydroponics. I spent yesterday actually converting my Alocasias into pond. That is a semi-hydro substrate, so hopefully they'll work out. But you can see they've got several different types of Anthuriums here. They have different varieties. I'm not going to go through each of the names, but you can see that they look really healthy. You can see the leaf shape is beautiful. It's got that little nice heart-shaped leaf, and I just absolutely love it. And as I pan away over here, plant foliage, you can see that this is plantstop.us. So basically, Green Spaces ID Indonesia has a broker here that actually gets all of the plants, and then they're able to ship from this particular hub to wherever you are. I have imported plants from Green Spaces ID twice now, and I've had some really good results. So, you know, somebody was asking me where I found my variegated Syngonium chia pens. It was actually from Green Spaces ID, and it was quite large. You can see this plant right here is not really looking as healthy. So they've really marked it down substantially. And then you can see over here, we do have some Monstera albos right here. They're not as variegated. The thing about Monstera albos or variegated Monstera, you really have to be cautious about the variegation, because most Monsteras that are variegated really rely on its initial genetics. So if you have a low variegated Monstera albo, for instance, it's probably not going to push out as much white. The only Monstera that I know that has really good stable variegation would be a Monstera Thai constellation. And it's really interesting because a lot of Monstera Thai constellations, there are more mutations happening. I am excited to share with you my day 2 experience about a particular one. So if you do want to see more PlantCon videos from Dallas, please make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell on so you can see all of these rare and uncommon plants readily available at a plant convention. I know that you guys have probably seen a lot of my big box store plant shopping videos. Have no fear, I actually have quite a bit of them already pre-filmed. I just want to make sure that this whole week I can showcase the beauty of PlantCon 2024 in Dallas. I mean, all of these rare Hoyas, they've got little splotchiness on it. I love the reds. I love the sun stressing. I love just all of that. And, you know, with Hoyas, they're actually quite easy to take care of. I just thought that Hoyas would really need a lot of light. They do, like, they need bright indirect light. But what I love about Hoyas is that they're super drought tolerant. You don't have to worry about them actually dying from being underwatered. Like, I remember not watering my Hoya carnosa, for instance, for an entire month. The leaves started to get a little bit shriveled, but in terms of it actually fully dying, as soon as I watered it, within 48 hours, the leaves were very waxy and thick again. So, you know, with Hoyas, that's why they call it the wax plant, because it does have like a waxy texture about it. And I love the different colors of this one. For instance, this one is for $46, and you can see they have different varieties of Hoyas. What's also cool about Hoyas is they are able to bloom. So if a Hoya blooms for you, then that means you have given it the ideal growing conditions. It's happy, it's mature, it's ready to bring you some beautiful flowers and some really fragrant flowers. But rare Hoya from Indonesia, I love Indonesia. They have some awesome plants. And again, I've made quite a bit of friends. I love to be able to interact with you guys socially, whether it's on Instagram, on the comment section, or even in the live premiere chats. I know my first PlantCon 2024 video ended up having like 110 live viewers. That is amazing. Just know that on a typical day, I do daily plant shopping videos that will usually premiere at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, sometimes a little bit later. But now we are going to Kosh Plantopia, imports from Thailand, and this is actually a Filipino vendor. So I was able to talk to Ate. She was super kind and she was super proud about all of these plants. These plants are what you call the cream of the crop in terms of some of the newest varieties of rare and uncommon variegated plants from Thailand. She actually imports these, and I really love it. Like, look at this right here. This alone is a Syngonium scrambled eggs, but notice how much the variegation looks so beautiful. And then she has a lot of like Syngoniums. So like Syngoniums are plants that are one of my all-time favorites. It was like my all-time favorite plant, but now aglaonemas are kind of taking over that. But Syngoniums, for instance, like this is a Syngonium scrambled eggs. This is another Syngonium that I really want. It is a little bit more spider mite prone. It does need a little bit more humidity, and it is a little bit slower growing, but if you're able to get it established, it is a beautiful plant. Now over here is a Syngonium green tea confetti. So I know that they have a Syngonium matcha, which has like a more textured leaf, but this one is really cool because it does look like some green tea with some speckles of confetti. So that's a really cool mutation as well. And with Syngoniums, you just really want to make sure that you are giving them quite a bit of bright indirect light in order for them to really thrive and give you that coloration. Here is a Syngonium variegated chia pens. This one is for $70, and Syngonium variegated chia pens has held on to its price. It's still pretty stable in terms of just how much it is. Certain plants have really plummeted in terms of pricing, but Syngonium variegated chia pens has not, and I find that quite interesting. And then right over here is Syngonium frog in a blender. What an interesting plant name. Look at that green on green variegation. You can see that one is quite pricey for $250. The only thing I will comment in terms of plant pricing for Syngoniums, it's really hard pressed challenging for me to spend that much money on Syngoniums, because as much as I love, for instance, this Syngonium mint of Java for $180, I can't bring myself to spend on triple digits on a Syngonium, because Syngoniums are so easy to propagate and multiply. I've noticed that if I just wait another 6 months, maybe a year, these Syngonium prices will go down because they're going to be a little bit more readily available. Obviously, I want to support the plant vendors that sell these beautiful plants. I just don't have the budget to really spend that much on them, if that makes any sense. Now, here is an Immersive aurea, and this is a species from the Philippines for a pretty good price. And again, me and the plant vendor, who is also Filipino, we were just talking about how some of our native plants, our plants that come from the Philippines, brings us a lot of pride and joy. I cannot tell you how proud I am to be a Filipino American. In this, this channel, I like to share things that are, culturally about the Philippines. And the Philippines has very close ties to just plants in general, because plants really do bring people joy. Filipinos in general are a joyful group of people. I know we are very family oriented and very dedicated, and I would say with plant care and just plants in general, you have to be very dedicated. Very dedicated. I said variegated. Very dedicated to plant care. This one is a very interesting unicorn plant. Look at this. This is some type of variegated Philodendron Plazantin or something like that. I don't know how you pronounce it, or it almost looks like a gloriosa. Beautiful plant. It's quite expensive though, but I can see why, because look at how gorgeous that variegation is. It's definitely a fresh import. And again, plant foldies, if you do plan to do imports, know that you're not going to get soil, like a plant foley in soil. It needs to be shipped in sphagnum moss, just because at least there are some really strict regulations about just being able to just send soil, because we don't want to have any potential pests. And then right here is a variegated Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. Look at how highly variegated it is. It doesn't even have the fenestrations. And then over here is a Syndapsis black dragon. And you can see right here, it's got some interesting variegation. And I've noticed that there's quite a bit of variegated Syndapsis. I would think that Syndapsis in general were not that, variegated, but I really love the look of that particular Syndapsis black dragon. So as you can see, plant foldies, this particular vendor has some really nice Syngoniums. This is a Syngonium Milk Confetti Galaxy for $150. And while it is pricey, look at how beautiful that variegation is. You can see that it's got quite a bit of speckling. Beautiful plant. I love pink plants. Pink plants are amazing, and this would be another Syngonium I would definitely add into my collection. I just don't have the budget quite yet for it. And so when it comes to these more rare and uncommon plants, ways you can possibly acquire them is maybe have a group of you guys purchase a plant, make it a mother plant, propagate from it, and that's one way to do it. Trade plants, for instance, and maybe even just see if you can get a discount for some of these plants. I don't really have, any shame asking for a potential discount. The worst thing somebody could possibly say is no. Sometimes I get lucky that I might get a little bit of a discount, sometimes not. But when it comes down to it, again, plant foldies, as much as we love plants, just remember that plants need to be accessible to everybody. And so whenever you go to like a plant convention, still compare and contrast your prices. Know that some of the plant pricing is going to be a little bit more pricey just because of the type of plants that they have available. Syngonium Faustina Mint Marble, a very rare and uncommon Syngonium. It's one that I would definitely want to add, because look at that variegation on that plant. This is such an uncommon and rare plant. I would say that this particular plant plant vendor probably had one of the more rare and uncommon selections as a whole for her whole vendor, for her whole booth. So I really thought that that was interesting. We'll see what that looks like in terms of just how many more plants she can get. I know that if you haven't already, make sure you are following this plant vendor on Instagram. They are available on Instagram. I hope to be able to see her to even more plant conventions, because all of these Syngoniums are really cool. Like this one's a Syngonium tricolor red spot chocolate for $80. So Syngonium tricolor red spot was super expensive about 3 years ago. Like a 2-leaf plant like that was like $500, and now it's actually a little bit more accessible, but now they have the chocolate variety. So that's a plant that I would definitely want to add to my collection. And then you can see they've got more Syngoniums here, some really uncommon and rare Syngoniums. All of these Syngoniums that I've actually picked up have I've never seen in real life. I haven't even heard of them. And so for somebody who like me, who likes to actually collect Syngoniums, this was definitely a booth that was very tempting to purchase plants from. I was glad that I was able to look at these plants. Really thankful that she allowed me to just really film a lot of these plants in detail. Like right here is a Syngonium pink cloud. Really like the look of that, and you can see that it does have some of that speckling on it. I really like that a lot. And then you can see right here that is for $70. With Syngoniums, they're pretty fast growers, except for some varieties like the Syngonium scrambled eggs is a little bit slower growing. But these plants, when you give them some really good humidity, bright indirect light, consistent watering, fertilization, just giving them some fertilizer, they will actually grow pretty fast. They are considered an easy to care for plant. Most people will even consider Syngoniums a basic plant. I love them regardless. Most Syngoniums bring me a lot of joy, and it's all about getting that joy from your plant. So plant foldies, leave a comment if you agree with me. Let me know what you think about these Syngoniums. Again, if you haven't hit the like button, please make sure you're hitting the like button so I can even make more videos for you to enjoy. This one right here is a Syngonium Dazzling Rain for $150. And so Dazzling Rain has just a little bit of speckling variegation. I do like that it's got a very light color leaf, but that would be just another plant that I've never heard of. I'm not sure if it's a fast grower or if it's an easy grower, but needless to say, it is available at this plant this plant vendor. And you can see Janae Simone was with me. We were looking at it, and then Plant Foldies, lo and behold, the most expensive Aglaonema in the entire world. This is an Aglaonema Crown of Siam. Fresh import. This one is for $600. Now, Aglaonema, this is one that is just one of the newer hybrids. When I first saw this about a year and a half ago, this plant was actually like $4,000. So clearly it's starting to go down in price, but this is an absolute stunner of an Aglaonema. Just look at that color and that variegation. If anybody here wants to send me a Christmas present, you can definitely try to source out an Aglaonema Crown of Siam. I need this plant. Toltec Plants, which is another great plant vendor, made my dreams come true because I was able to get an Aglaonema Lotus Delight. All I needed was this Aglaonema Crown of Siam. So Plant Foldies, let me know what you think. But you have now witnessed one of the most expensive Aglaonemas, one of the rarest Aglaonemas you'll ever find in the entire world. Now, this Aglaonema actually was hybridized and created in Indonesia. And if you like Aglaonema, definitely check out the Indonesian Instagram pages. There's so many pages that feature all of these Aglaonemas we don't see. My good friend Janae, as well as Steven of I Lift Plants, we all love Aglaonema, and I'm always baffled that nobody really talks about Aglaonema or nobody really gets excited. It's such an awesome plant. I feel like Philodendrons are sometimes overrated versus Aglaonemas that are super underrated plants. So again, Plant Foldies, hopefully you like the Crown of Siam. Let me know what you think. And then over here, Plant Foldies, we've got a Micans reverted, pink reverted. So you can see that there was some pink, but now it's actually reverted back to more of that Aurea color. That is not the Philippine variety. The Philippine variety actually holds the pink variegation. And then you can see right here, we've got another Aglaonema Cochin tricolor. Beautiful plant. plant. I love the white stems, and I just love the leaf shape and even the color. So, you know, Aglaonema, I would say hands down, is one of the most beautiful types of plants you can find, beautiful types of genuses of plants. So really like the look of that as well. And then you can see, again, this is the crown of Siam. I want this so bad. Plant Foldies. I mean, maybe should I just like start a GoFundMe for an Aglaonema crown of Siam, or maybe even a Patreon? Feel free, if you want to send me a super sticker or super thanks, to send me a monetary tip for these videos. I would appreciate it. You definitely don't have to do it, but it could fund my Aglaonema crown of Siam dreams. Now over here for $450 is another Philodendron Florida Beauty crossed with a Tortum. I've noticed that this Philodendron is actually showing up into more people's plant vendors, so maybe this plant will actually go down a little bit in price. We'll see. I'm curious to see what that Philodendron will cost in about a year. I've noticed that even like the Philodendron Bellitiae, the variegated form, has started to go down in price. But whenever you want to see the trendy plants, the hot items, you want to definitely go to a place like PlantCon. So excited that it was actually PlantCon Dallas, because this place was only about 15 to 20 minutes away. I know that I went to Houston, and when I say that it was definitely worth it, I already knew I was going to go to PlantCon Dallas, especially it being just in my, you know, my neighborhood. Like that would have been, that's just awesome. This is a variegated Anthurium, beautiful plant, and I was able to get a beautiful variegated Anthurium bird nest from Wild Roots Nursery, which is actually out in New Braunfels, Texas. Really love the family that runs that business, and I am hoping that I'll be able to film their plants. But as you can see right here, Plant Foldies, so many niche, so many uncommon, very sophisticated plants at this particular booth. This one right here is a variegated Philodendron Atapoensiae. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's for $400, but look at how cool that variegation is on the leaf. It is all about the variegation whenever you go to a plant convention. Although I would say do not sleep on the green plants. The green plants are amazing. I love them, but there is something about these variegated plants that are just something else. This is a Philodendron Micans pink species. Again, I am so proud that this plant vendor, who happens to be Filipina as well, was able to source out a lot of these Philippine plants. I do think that the Philippines has some really beautiful plants that a lot of people may not be aware of. I will say, after going on vacation to the Philippines, that the plants there are so cheap to purchase. Like even a variegated Pachira aquatica was not the same type of pricing that you would have to pay in the United States. I wish I would be able to like take plants from the Philippines back to the United States, but that is a whole process. You want to always source plants out legally, sustainably. So that's just, you know, something that we all have to take a look at. Here is a variegated Alocasia black stem. This one is for $90, and I actually want to get a variegated black stem Alocasia. I'm a little bit more confident when it growing to Alocasias, just because they're a little bit more readily available. And now that I know that I can grow them in pond and hopefully be successful semi-hydroponic, I am going to collect a little bit more Alocasias. I also have a humidifier running in my plant room, which I will show you during a plant tour, so that gives me a little bit more confidence. But as you can see right here, Plant Foldies, PlantCon 2024 in Dallas. If you want to see rare and uncommon plants that you could actually buy for a pretty good price, you have to go to a plant convention. Now, as you can see right here, I am panning away and just showing you some more of these plants that are in more of like a humid environment. You can see we've got some Anthuriums right here. This one is in Sphagnum. So 2 plants, there's 2 of them. For that price. And then I wanted to pan over to Wild Roots real quick and show you this Monstera. Look at how stunning this variegated Monstera. I'm not sure what variety it is, but this was only for $1,750. Beautiful plant. And again, if I could afford these prices, these plants would have definitely gone home with me. Wild Roots, again, is an amazing plant vendor. They have a really cool nursery. They have quite a bit of uncommon and rare plants. So I definitely did my shopping early on through Wild Roots before everybody else came in. You can see that there's not nearly as many people quite yet here. I was able to get some of that footage. But Plant Foldies, what do you think so far of this content that I have of PlantCon? can see there's quite a bit of people that love plants at this plant convention. We are now going to another plant vendor. I'm just going to take a look at some of these plants right over here. Right over here, we have the Botanic Boys Plant Co. Beautiful plants that they have here. They have several philodendron available. So we're going to take a look at some of these philodendron. This is another plant vendor that's based out in Texas. This is a philodendron strawberry shake. Look at that variegation. Let's take a look at the price. The price is $69.98. Not a bad price at all. And you know, with strawberry shake philodendron, it just has a lot of different colors going around it. I do love the dark maroon stems. Really looks good. And then over here is a philodendron red moon. And here's the thing about philodendron red moon. It is quite pricey, $139.98. But if you're going to ask me, I don't know if I would really be into that plant, because you can see that it's mostly green with like a half moon variegation on it. I think it's a little, it's not really my cup of tea. Now here's a philodendron golden crocodile marble. So you can see that this has more of like that marbling and it has more of like a neon color. Really like the look of this. Now this would be another philodendron I would like to collect. I like the serrated philodendrons and would like to get as many of them in my collection. You can see that this particular plant vendor has quite a bit of philodendrons. And then this one right here is actually a really cool philodendron. This is a philodendron rarest marble. I think that's rarest marble. I think that's how you pronounce it. But look at the speckling. But I love the yellow color of this philodendron. It is absolutely stunning. And plant foliage, if you've been watching my plant videos for the last 9 months, you already know I love philodendrons that are neon color, yellow color. I will be doing a feature of specifically neon and yellow colored plants. I have quite a bit in my collection. Over here is a variegated alocasia black stem. Look at that beautiful variegation. So was super excited to have met some more people at PlantCon, and I did happen to run into a couple of plant foldies that I met before. For instance, Gloria. We're going to say hi to Gloria and her granddaughter.
Hi, Gloria. So Gloria is another plant foldie we met. What did you buy at the PlantCon today?
Painted lady, and I have variegated Hoya
Variegated guys? Yes. And then what did your granddaughter, what she got? She got an alocasia. Say hi.
Booby cactus.
Booby cactus. That's so cute. And then you can see plant foldies. Miss Gloria has a Grow Fold shirt. We're twinning. We're twinning.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Every day.
I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And it's people like Gloria and all of the plant foldies, Trish, Daniel, Jamie, Rose, that I saw at PlantCon 2024 that really just got me excited. I mean, for me to be able to film all of these beautiful plants, like this is the variegated alocasia black stem. I would think that this is the mother plant of all of those smaller velvet or black stem alocasias that are variegated. Beautiful plant. But just the camaraderie we have at the Grow Fold YouTube channel, just all of the people that continue to tune into the live premiere chat. I look forward to actually chatting with you guys for at least an hour every single evening. For those that have really spent the time to just interact with me, to engage with me, to invest their time to watch my plant content, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it and how thankful I am. I mean, it just gets me more inspired to work harder to be able to show you this type of plant content. And then even on the flip side, I like to showcase and really promote local plant businesses, to promote even PlantCon. I hope that there are more frequent PlantCon conventions all over the state of Texas and just all around. It'll give me a reason to travel. But we're back at the Botanic Boys Co. plant area, this booth. They can see that they have a lot of philodendron. This is a philodendron heteroecium gabi, and I did want to say that I have a philodendron heteroecium gabi. It was gifted to me by Plants with Pete. Thank you so much for that. Mine is doing very well. It's actually just growing in leca, but that is a philodendron heteroecium that is quite uncommon and it's really hard to find. It was actually a mutation that was found at Gabriella's Plants, which is a nursery out in Florida. That's why it's called Gabi, and I really love the look at it. You can see that it's got some really high
variegation. And then over here we have some more variegated plants. This one is a Monstera adansonii tricolor, beautiful plant. I happen to be gifted by Fitzgerald's Tropicals, a local plant vendor out in Dallas, Texas. Really love their uncommon plants. And then we also have just a Philodendron silver sword. Love the look of the Philodendron silver sword. I know that there's a variegated version now, but the silver sword, it's absolutely stunning. And then we have a Papililanium long-eared Anthurium, beautiful plant. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not the best at pronouncing certain plant names, so you'll have to excuse me. And then there's a Philodendron varicosum right over here. What a beautiful leaf. Now with these velvety textured Philodendron, you do have to be a little bit more careful with them because they're a little bit more finicky. They need a little bit more humidity. They're definitely spider mite prone, so just a little bit more care into that. But you can see here they've got even more Philodendron heterasium gabbies. Like, I remember about 4 years ago, like a one leaf, one node cutting of a Philodendron heterasium gabby would sell for like $300. And so you can see after a while, plant pricing does reduce in its price. And then this is an interesting begonia, B. pinno Fida, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a really interesting one because it almost looks like a conifer or some type of juniper. The texture of that begonia is quite interesting. I definitely like it. It's just one that I don't know if I can grow. Begonias in general are really challenging to grow. And then we got some more Monstera albos right here. These are pretty variegated as well. I really like to look at that. Monstera albos will continue to maintain their price. Even though they're readily available now, I feel like they're not as hard to find and they're really easy to propagate. So, you know, it's a classic uncommon rare plant, if that makes any sense. I love my Monstera albos, specifically from Fitzgerald's Tropicals, super variegated. And then, you know, as far as Monsteras and variegated Monsteras, I definitely want to collect more of that. Here are some more cactus and succulents, and I am going to go to one of the booths that I really thought did amazing, and that is the Prop and Grow Plant Shop. This is a plant shop that is headed by Eddie and his wife, and I had the best time talking to Eddie and even talking to his wife on day 2. They had a plethora of different types of plants from a wide range of plant pricing, which many people did appreciate. So I happened to actually film their booth later in the day, and I just remember passing by their booth earlier, and they had so many plants. By the time I got there, most of their plants have sold through, and it's just amazing. They had so many different types of plants. They have succulents and cactus. We're looking at these right over here, and the pricing was very cost effective. So if you ever see Prop and Grow Plant Shop at a plant convention like this, definitely rush over there, because not only do they have easy to care for plants, succulents and cactus, they have uncommon and rares. Just the family behind this plant shop, it's just amazing. And you know, when I talk about how kindness really does bring more kind people around you, how that on the power of positivity will also manifest positivity. I am just glad that, you know, these two, Eddie and his wife, were able to sell through a lot of their plants. I love the fact that they had a lot of just Epipremnum aureum, like this Marble Queen Pothos right here, priced at $10. Not a bad price at all. And all of the plants were very healthy. They were very lush. I had really good conversation with them. It was actually interesting because Eddie actually recognized and watched one of my plant videos from PlantCon in Houston. I happened to not get them, and it's because at the time I remember I was in a rush to try to get as many vendors, but they were so busy. And so I just am happy that they were blessed with a lot of these plant, with all of the plant business they got. You can see they have a lot of these different easy to care for plants. You know, some people will say pothos plants are basic. They are not. They bring a lot of people a lot of joy. And honestly, I would rather spend $10 on an enjoy pothos versus even spending money on like a super expensive variegated alocasia. Not that I don't want a variegated alocasia. All I'm saying is, even though a plant like this, for instance, this Philodendron Rojo Congo for $8, this will grow into a beautiful mature specimen. These are still plants that, while they may not have the most elaborate variegation, or they may not be the most trending import, these are plants that are easy to care for. And you know, I say this in all of my videos, but if you are going to grow plants, you need to have a plant that is going to bring you joy. And the way a plant brings you joy is to be able to wake up each morning and to see a new leaf unfurling, to see that it's growing, to see that it's growing healthy, to be able to propagate it, to be able to take those propagations and share them with others, versus having to really, spend so much time trying to keep a plant alive. And sometimes the more expensive, uncommon, rare plants tend to do that. Like even this Monstera Burley Marks, love it. It's just quite expensive for my for my budget at the moment. But the Philodendron right next to it, the Philodendron Moonlight, that yellow one, just as beautiful as the one that the Burley Marks. And then over here, Anthurium crystallinum crossed with the magnificum, $55. Now I will say Anthuriums, beautiful plants. Very interesting that Anthuriums have been hybridized. There's just so many different crosses, and I just want to see the potential of all of those crosses even become more interesting. Like here is a Philodendron gloriosum. I really love the plant, and I'm loving that Philodendron gloriosum is a little bit more readily available. You can find them at a big box store like Home Depot. I know Proven Winners has actually released them, but it is nice that they have these 4-inch starter plants at Prop and Grow plant shops. So not only do they have the easy care plants, they have a plethora of different types of philodendrons, rare and uncommon plants. I just love that they had such diversity for it, and they were definitely not intimidating because they had a very full and impactful display. I talked to Eddie and just really what their business model looks like. I know that they do a lot of pop-ups and they do just a lot of business. So if you haven't already, please make sure you are following them on Instagram at the Prop and Grow plant shop. Definitely support them. Like I wanted to buy this one right here though, this variegated lineata, Monstera lineata. I have just a green form, but I haven't seen such a speckling one. This one's on for $100, and that's actually a pretty good price considering it's already on a totem. This type of Monstera, any Monstera really needs to be growing up a totem pole or moss pole. Eventually will get larger leaves and start to fenestrate. It almost looks like a very large like Monstera esqueleto if you look at the fenestrations of a Monstera lineata. So that's just something that most people may not be aware of, but as you can see right here, this particular plant booth has even more varieties of plants. Like this Scindapsus Trubai Moonlight Speckled for $40. Really love that, and it is on a pole as well, and you can see that it's already attached its leaves right there. Like that's another plant I probably should have bought. I will tell Eddie, y'all, if I see you guys again at PlantCon or the Texas Airway Trail, like I really hope you guys will be there. I will be buying a crap ton of plants from you guys. I really believe in your plant. If you're watching this, Eddie, and the Prop and Grow plant shop, just know I want to wish you guys the best of luck, more continued success. You guys are amazing, and I just love seeing that so many people bought plants from you guys. This particular plant shop kind of reminds me of Peta's Planters. A couple that really wants to just grow a business, somebody that has passion for plants. And it's not that all of the other vendors didn't have that. It's just very interesting to see this particular couple really have that teamwork to take care of the plants, and for them to travel out of state to go all the way to Texas. These plants actually, it's a stressful process, to see that these plants may have had some stress traveling, and then just to be able to have such a huge display, that is huge for the plant community. And so I hope Plant Foldies, you guys will look up Prop and Grow plant shops, support their business. I know that they do ship plants online. Definitely check them out, and if I see them at another plant shop, I definitely want to volunteer and help you guys set up. I want to go film your plants. I just want to do it all, and that's for any plant vendor that actually showed at PlantCon. I will continue to do plant shopping videos. If you ever want me to collab, I don't really ask for anything. I just really want to be able to find a space where I can show beautiful plants like this Alocasia Quilted Dreams. Love this Alocasia. This is going to be another one I'm going to add to my Alocasia collection. We're just going to see if I can grow these Alocasia a little bit more successful in pond, for instance, semi-hydros. But to go back to the plant vendors, if you're a local plant business, reach out to me anytime. I will definitely want to come visit your nursery. I tend to film a lot of the local plant businesses. I know that I do a lot of big box store plant shopping videos. And again, plant foldies, the reason why I do big box store plant shopping videos is for the most part, big box stores are accessible to everybody. And I think plants like this Alocasia poly, we need to be able to have it accessible to everybody. I don't think plants need to just be for a specific niche. I do not think plants need to be overpriced to the point where we can't afford them. We should be able to afford these plants at an affordable price. That way everybody is brought joy. So I know I'm kind of ranting a little bit, but you know, there was a lot of thoughts that I had from PlantCon, a lot of positive thoughts. There were some things that I did want to share in a later video. I think me and Janae are going to do a collab where we're going to give our afterthoughts about PlantCon. But overall, just being able to see these plants, and again, Prop and Grow Plant Shop, you guys had some really cost-effective pricing. I remember them having some really large Ficus elasticas for like $35, and I regret not purchasing this. I should have bought this Alocasia Gigantea aurea, because look at how gorgeous this leaf is, and it is actually a pretty fast grower. I love that neon colored yellow variegation. And again, plant foldies, you already know that if it comes down to it, I have to have some kind of Alocasia like this. I do want to get the variegated Alocasia. I just think it's pretty. It's not because I necessarily want to follow the trend, but this is another plant that with Alocasias, they did get some corms. I recently converted my Alocasia cuprea from soil into pond, and when I did it, I happened to find 3 corms that I am actually going to grow in perlite, under a grow light, under a heating pad. So we'll see if that grows. But you can see Prop and Grow Plant Shop, they have quite a bit of plants. So we saw some easy to care for plants. Now they got some plants like these variegated Alocasia amazonica polys, really interesting. Now that would be an Alocasia I would add, but I would definitely need to put it in semi-hydroponic, so like pond or like leca. We'll see what that looks like, but I am going to trust that, you know, the pond will help these Alocasia grow a little bit easier. I do have a humidifier near them. I have been spraying them down with neem oil, and that's the thing, plant foldies, especially for those that have just discovered my channel because of PlantCon. Just expect that you will see a lot of big box or plant shopping videos. I hope you'll stick around. I may not always have the more niche, the more like variegated rare aroids, but this is a plant community for everybody, whether you like outdoor gardening, indoor tropical plants, bonsai, kokedama, anything that is plant related, I will have it on this channel. And also I am going to eventually make this Facebook page for our YouTube channel. I know I keep saying that in every video. It is coming. I just need to have a day off to do so. But as you can see right here, Prop and Grow has some Phoetonias, and we have this Tradescanthia nano that's about to come up, but we have this Tradescanthia velvet. I have one of those as well. It's done very well for me. I definitely cut it back so it doesn't become very leggy. Tradescanthia are super easy to take care of. And then look at this gorgeous Tradescanthia nanuk. Love the pink coloration of it. It's a very easy to care for plant. With Tradescanthias, if you give it more bright light, they're not going to get as leggy very quickly. If they do get leggy, just cut them back. You can take the cuttings, actually root them in water. They're very easy to root. As Costa Farm says in their hanging baskets of Tradescanthia, they are fun to share, which means they're easy to propagate. And then you can see right here, I think this is another type of Tradescanthia, but look at how interesting the leaves are and just the texture of it. But Prop and Grow Plant Shop, they had just a large display with lots of tables of different types of plants. I love the organization. I love how they had all of the Sansevieria together. That is a Sansevieria cylindrica, one of the easiest Sansevieria to grow. I would suggest that versus the Sansevieria trifasciatas. Snake plants, though, are marketed as an easy care for plant. They are, unless you are an overwater. Now, if you water snake plants often, they're going to end up dying because they are susceptible to root rot very quickly. But you can see that Prop and Grow Plant Shop, please make sure you guys are buying from them, shopping from them, supporting them, following them on their social media. They definitely, you know, gave me a lot of time to chat. And, you know, for the vendors that give any time to me actually just to chat about plants, I really appreciate it. I mean, like this right here, this Syngonian Godzilla, one of the coolest plants right here for only $30. And I remember seeing them sell a Epipremnum Shangri-La totem for 90, and I already told my friends that that was going to sell by the end of the day, and by the time I got to their booth it was gone. And then you can see right here they have some more Anthuriums, different types of Anthuriums right over here. I have to really explore the world of Anthuriums. I feel like it is definitely an untapped world of plants that I have not gotten into just as of recent, just because I've been getting some of the imports from like Indonesia and really seeing that. And then you can see right here they've got Hoya. So not only do they have Anthuriums, Hoyas, Philodendrons, they just have so many varieties of plants. And when you think about like a plant convention, the average plant vendor probably has more of the more rare, uncommon plants, but they did it right, because by day 2 all of these plants were sold out. And that's the thing about, you know, plant conventions. We don't always want to go to a plant convention to look at the most variegated monstera for like $2,000. Maybe we want to buy a Calathea ornata for a pretty fair price. Like I love the pink lining on this one. Unfortunately, Calatheas and we have just parted ways. I'm just not going to bring a Calathea into my home because I've already tried to grow them hydroponically. They did not work. They ended up getting spider mites, and they're just a very finicky plant. And unfortunately, at least this current moment, Calatheas will not make it into my plant collection. Now Hoyas, y'all are about to take over my space. Same thing with Anthuriums and same thing with Philodendron. Like right here is a Philodendron Ring of Fire. This one's a little bit more variegated. Now, Philodendron and Ring of Fire, you definitely want to give it quite a bit of light. The light is what influences the plant. And then you've just got a regular Syngonium green form. So like a reverted albo, beautiful plant. I love that. It's got that jade green color. And then we've got some variegated Hoya compactus here. Beautiful plant. It has some very fragrant pink pink blooms. And now we're going to Tropical Wishes plant shop. So this is another local plant vendor in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Now this is a plant booth that had quite a bit of uncommon rare plants. You can see right here, this is a variegated Monstera Letriana albo. Beautiful plant. That is another plant I definitely want to add to my collection. And then we've got a Epipremnum aureum Taruno bumpy on a pole. This one's for $200. You can see that this one actually has more of like textured leaves. So it's like a golden pothos, but the leaves are a little bit more textured. So that's why it's probably called bumpy. If you haven't seen Japanese pothos, you definitely need to check out my PlantCon 2024 Dallas day 1 part 2 video where I feature all of the Taruno world Japanese pothos. You can see this is a small variegated silver sword right here, another starter plant. And you know, with starter Philodendron, they are actually not risky to take just because they're a little bit easier to grow. And then this is a variegated Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. And I would say out of all the Rhaphidophora tetraspermas that were variegated, Tropical Wishes had the best one right there. Now this is an Epipremnum aureum Manjula for just $25, but look at how variegated that leaf is. There is something about Manjula pothos that really hit me a different way. I'm always going to be a fan, and you can see that that is a Tropical Wishes business card. I took one because I definitely want to connect with her and see if I can buy some plants. Here's a Syngonium Chia Pens variegated for $100. So as you can see that this particular Syngonium is still quite expensive. The good thing about her Syngonium Chia Pens though is it does have some really good variegation. You can see that beautiful half moon, and again we've got another Epipremnum aureum Taruno bumpy. I want to grow Japanese pothos, but I'm gonna buy them from the D&M Secret Garden because they're the ones who actually have the full license to buy and sell Taruno pothos plants. Here is a Scindapsus Halimoon. What an interesting Scindapsus for $150. Look at how beautiful that variegation is. And the thing about Scindapsus though, I like them, but I don't like them nearly as much as pothos plants because I feel like their growth rate is just so slow, and I like plants that actually grow pretty fast. Here is an Epipremnum aureum Manjula Ponsine. So this is another variegated mutation of the Manjula pothos. Look at how cool that is. You can see that it's got more of like an aurea yellow type color to it. This is definitely up my alley. And then you can see plant foldies. We've got even more plants right over here, more variegated plants. They just have so many to pick from. Beautiful variegated Monstera aurea right there. You can see that's in a chunky mix, aroid mix, and then just more plants to pick from. Philodendron Caramel Marble. This one's a smaller one right here. Look at how beautiful that variegation is. This is definitely a wish list plant. I just can't afford it just at this very moment. So again, plant foldies, if you know where to source one of those out, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram, send me a direct message. I pretty much respond to everybody. Same thing in the comments. I love connecting with you guys. You can see this is a philodendron burley marks for $75, the variegated form. That one though, you have to be careful because it can revert very quickly. And then she's got a plethora of different types of syngoniums. So this is a syngonium pink salmon right here. I definitely want to get this. This is the Orum Nagpum variegation one. That was another one that I regret not purchasing. So at the Texas Aeroid show, the plants I'm looking to go buy would be more Aglaonema, more syngoniums, maybe some philodendron, maybe a monstera. We'll see, but definitely syngoniums. You can see right here, this is an Orm Thong syngonium for $40, but I ended up getting the one from IV Plants. I felt like I got a better value for it, although that one's a beautiful plant. And then we have some more variegated plants right here. So this is a philodendron nuclear for $150. Philodendron Congo nuclear. I ended up getting a starter plant for $15, so hopefully I can grow it to that size at some point. It's just going to take a little bit more time. And then you can see right here at this plant convention, they just have many different types of plants. I love that they have these readily available. You can see right here another syngonium strawberry ice. This one isn't as variegated. There is a little bit of variegation. I do like the dark foliage, so I don't mind that at all. Now with syngonium strawberry ice, it is a little bit more of a finicky plant, slow growing syngonium. Monstera aurea, it's another wish list plant of mine. So if you know where I can source one of those out, that's another plant I definitely want to get. This is a syngonium green freckles. And then we're going to just look at Pitas planters. Again, you already know that I love Pitas planters. They are based out in Dallas, Texas. So if you ever visit Dallas, definitely go to Pitas planters. It is a smaller space plant shop, but every inch of that plant shop has beautiful plants, and their plants are healthy, they're cost effective, they have rare and uncommon plants, but they have so many varieties of easy to care for plants. If you haven't seen my videos of Pitas planters, definitely check out my playlist. And if you want to see all the plant con videos I have made so far, I do have a playlist. I would love for you guys to binge and watch it, share that with your friends. And you know, I want to ask everybody, if you do have social media, maybe Facebook or friends that have love plants on Instagram, please share my channel, please share my PlantCon videos, because I really want to get more exposure for PlantCon. I feel like if people saw plant conventions, they would become even more popular. I just love it. But you can see at Pitas planters, they do have a bunch of Anthuriums. So Pita and her partner David run this plant shop. I am there quite often, and I am there ready to buy this Anthurium Doriaki. I told myself, if I'm going to buy any more Anthuriums, I'm definitely going to buy them from Pitas planters. Like, that's for $40. That is not bad at all, considering it's already established in some chunky aeroid mix. And you can see that there's another Anthurium over here. She does have quite a bit of philodendrons as well, and just quite a bit of selection. So a lot of their plants that they brought were more of the uncommon, rare plants for PlantCon. But if you were to visit Pitas planters, which is located out in Dallas, you'll see some more easy to care for plants, lots of plants to choose from. Like right here for $40 is a philodendron orange marmalade. I happen to get one though already from an Indonesian plant vendor, but look at how beautiful that yellow variegation is. And then we have some more philodendrons right here. I do like the fact that Pita does have a lot of her rare and uncommon plants in these clear planters. I feel like they're a little bit more trendy and easier. The reason why they are more trendy is because you can actually see the plant's roots, which is a good thing, because then you can see whether the plant is healthy. So I have started to grow some of my plants more so in clear pots. I've started to grow some more of my plants in semi-hydroponics, but as you can see right here, Pitas planters, I can't say enough of the great things about them. You just have to check them out. And then, definitely tell Pita and David Richie says hi. I am definitely a huge patron of theirs. She also has a bunch of homemade planters that she makes by hand, handmade planters, which also gives this plant shop a little bit more of a unique aesthetic. And obviously just all of the Anthuriums that they have. So I hope Pita's planters will continue to show at these plant conventions. I happen to have a plant foldy viewer subscriber by the name of Kevin leave me a beautiful present for day one. He gave me a variegated Alocasia odora. And again, Kevin, if you are watching this video, I definitely want to get in contact with you. If you're at Peta's Planters, I let them know to go ahead and give my contact information. I would love to meet you in person just because we've missed each other several times. Thank you for always tuning into my my plant shopping videos. And again, plant foldies, if you ever do want to do a meetup, hit me up. I am all about it. You can ask Trish, Daniel, Rose what I was like. I know that I'm a little bit shy in terms of showing my face on YouTube, but in person, I am a social butterfly. I mean, you can tell because I love talking about plants for an hour. Sometimes I'm surprised, plant foldies, that you guys will listen to me chat about plants for more than an hour daily, but I appreciate it. Over here, plant foldies, is a Philodendron Pluto for $30. Like, that is a really good price for the Philodendron Pluto. I'm probably going to go back to the shop and purchase this if she doesn't sell it already. That is the mother plant of like the Philodendron Ring of Fire, Philodendron Jungle Boogie, Philodendron Golden Crocodile, Philodendron Variegated Caramel Marble. That is the original plant. So you are looking at the mother plant out of all of those Philodendrons. And then you can see right here, this is another Hoya. So this one is an interesting Hoya. This is another Hoya Australis albo marginata. So this is a little bit different than the typical Hoya Lisa. This one has more of an Aurea albo variegation versus the green on green variegation. And you can see that there's quite a bit of different types of Hoyas right over here. Hoyas are also pet friendly. So if you have a furry pet friend, these are pet friendly. You won't have to worry about them being toxic and actually poisoning your pets. I would recommend Hoyas. They're actually easy. This one right here is for $60. It's gorgeous looking Hoya, and it's already starting to trail. So I would recommend Hoyas if you have pets, if you have little kids and you're worried about maybe the toxicity of some of the plants. You know, there are certain plants that you really don't want around your pets, like Dieffenbachia, for instance. Plumeria, you know, desert rose, those actually you don't really want to get their sap on your skin because they can irritate your skin and they're just toxic. So definitely want you to take a look at that. And then you can see that we have quite a bit of these beautiful planters. I love how Peta uses more of those pastel colors. I ended up getting gifted one of those beautiful yellow planters that she made. She sometimes 3D makes their planters, and she also has seminars where she does tutorials on how to make these terrazzo planters. So she does have a couple of those workshops. You'll have to check out her Instagram at Peta's Planters to see that. But plant foldies, again, you know, PlantCon is amazing. You'll definitely see a lot of these different types of plants. I'll have even more footage for sure. Like I said, I shot several hours of PlantCon footage. I'm definitely going to do that for the Texas Rare Aeroid Show as well. So, you know, if you made it this far to the video, please make sure you are hitting that like button. If you have questions about some of the vendors, or if you're a vendor that wants to reach out to me for a collab, please let me know. I am always open to that because I just want to get everybody some exposure. This is a variegated Alocasia odora that was gifted to me by a viewer and subscriber. And when I talk about this was probably one of the pinnacles of PlantCon, it definitely was, just because it reminds me that there are people really out there that are impacted by the content that I make, my plant content. It's not the most produced content. I don't really have a script. I literally am blabbing away about plants, but just the fact that you guys really want to watch my plant videos, I love it. And you can see right here, this is the competition that they have. So this is a green on green variegation Monstera. And you can see that Alocasia right there, that variegated Alocasia, that one is actually an entry from Plants by Tukta, beautiful plant. And she had a bunch of baby plants from that mother plant. So if I had the funds and opportunity to purchase that, I would definitely do, because look at how gorgeous that variegation is. She won first prize for best variegation, and I don't blame the judges, because that one was a phenomenal one. And you can see that they had Anthuriums, they had some cool different types of Hoyas. Maybe one day I will have a showpiece Monstera or some type of plant that I could show at PlantCon, because I do plan on going to PlantCon. I would also like to go plan on going to like the Rare Aeroid show in Texas and in Houston, but also the International Aeroid Show that's done in Florida. I would love to be able to see more of those types of festivals. I mean, you can see how massive that Anthurium is. Beautiful plant. You can see that there's that mutant Mandula, beautiful plant as well. And then you can see that they have different types of Hoyas. We've got a beautiful variegated Rojo Congo, I think. But I mean, look at that. It is just stunning. And I hope to one day be able to source out a plant and be able to grow it to that maximum potential. I know that Steve's Leaves actually had an entry. I don't know if it was a green on green variegated Monstera, but it was super cool. I'm just really inspired just to keep collecting plants, but also just to share my passion for you guys. It's just really nice to be able to show like this variegated Philodendron Bolitier, for instance. So I am back at Plants by Tukta. She was one of the first vendors that I saw at PlantCon. As soon as I walked in, she had such a great energy about her, and I love the fact that she is based out in Mansfield, Texas. You can see she had different types of variegated alocasia, which she grows from a corm, so she has her own production. And you can see there's just a variety of them. This one is a variegated alocasia heart balloon. I'm just curious to see what that variegated plant will look like as a mature form. Unfortunately, a lot of her alocasias, her variegated alocasias, were out of my price range, but it doesn't hurt to admire them from just, taking pictures and showing you guys on videos. Maybe someday I'll be able to afford some of these variegated alocasias. She does have other philodendrons. She does import plants from Thailand, and if you want to follow Plants by Tukta, she does have a Facebook group on Facebook as well as an Instagram page. Now, with a lot of these variegated alocasias, you can see that they are growing in stratum and pond. I think that that's probably the best substrate to put these plants in. We'll see. Give me about a month. I'll do an update on some of my alocasia that I have converted and put into pond. I'm excited to showcase that. I'm a little bit more confident that they will grow. And you can see right here, she even has these variegated begonias. She's got a syngonium, scrambled eggs, really nice variegation as well. And so she's got quite a bit of uncommon plants. I did get her contact information, so if and when I'm ready, when I actually have funds, I am definitely going to buy some more plants from Plants by Tukta. She is going to actually be at the Texas Rare Aeroid Show in Houston on October 26th. So I'm going to be hanging out at her booth because I want to film her plants. I want to chat with Tukta, and then also just to promote her. She had several starters of the Monstera Burley Marks Flames, for instance. Look at these little baby juvenile ones, but you know what? Sometimes you have to start out with a very small plant. Sometimes we can't afford the large plants, especially when they're highly sought after and their prices are a little bit high. I don't mind doing a starter plant. There was a couple of starter plants I did purchase at PlantCon because of just the price difference. This is a plant I definitely want to get as well. This is a variegated alocasia dragon scale, gorgeous plant. I do feel like this alocasia is eventually going to start going down in price. One of my wish list plants as far as a variegated plant would be a variegated alocasia black pink velvet. Beautiful plant which Tukta actually had, as well as look at this gorgeous philodendron silver sword variegated. I feel like this is another hot philodendron that just recently made it into the market. I mean, I would just settle for a cutting. I always tell people, if you could just share a cutting, I would totally be down for it. And that's what I was thinking too when I was actually watching and looking at the Japanese pothos. All I would need is like 1 or 2 cuttings and I will be like super happy. I could wait, even though they are a little bit slower growing. I mean, you can see right there, that is another plant I want. I want that philodendron variegated caramel marbled. Such a gorgeous serrated philodendron. And then you can see over here, plant foldies, we've got quite a bit of different types of alocasia, some small baby ones, as well as some begonias right over here. What I like about alocasias, especially these variegated ones, is if that's like really just the texture of the leaves are very leathery. It's a very sturdy plant, and you can see this one has more of a unique variegation as well. And then these are the variegated alocasia black velvets. Again, they're still quite pricey for me, but if you are somebody who wants to collect some of these more rare and uncommon plants, Tukta, Plants by Tukta has some really premium, healthy looking variegated plants. highly recommend them. You know, I feel like the price is actually worth it because they're healthy, they're beautiful, they're unique, they're gorgeous, they're everything that you would want in a rare plant. You can see that that is the QR code. You can pause this video and scan it if you want to go ahead and follow her social media presence. And then over here is a Monstera mint. I should have bought that as well, but I just couldn't quite afford that. Although the plant pricing for these Monstera mints, I think this one was either $600. Look at the variegation. You can tell that the genetics of the initial plant were really good because of the variegation. So again, with Plants by Tukta, that is one of the more premier plant booths that I saw at PlantCon. I'm glad that she'll be showing at the Texas Rare Aeroid Show in October. And then look at this right here. This is a variegated Alocasia Quilted Dreams. I needed this Alocasia. Look at how unique that is. I mean, I don't know, plant foldies. I don't know if I need to just keep creating more plant content to make more money, or if you guys need me to go ahead and just create a Patreon. I mean, like I said again, if you guys want to go send me a super sticker, a super thanks for some of my videos, I'm not going to stop you. You definitely don't need to, but the one thing you can do is please hit the like button for this video as well as subscribe to my channel. This is Richie at Grow Folds. I will have another PlantCon video available. It'll be day 2 of PlantCon. I'll see you then. Bye. Good day, my plant foldies. Today I will be taking you to PlantCon 2024 in Dallas, Texas. This is day 2. This is going to be my recap of the Dallas PlantCon that just happened recently. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video, as well as following me on Instagram at GrowFolds. And if you enjoy daily 1-hour plant shopping videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel with the notification bell on. As you can see, this is day 2 at PlantCon. I happened to get there around noontime. I ended up sleeping in just because I was at PlantCon day 1 all day, just filming all of that content. So we're gonna definitely check out what type of plants are left from PlantCon. For those that have tuned into all of my PlantCon videos for Dallas, thank you so much. And if you haven't seen my PlantCon 2024 Houston video, please check that out. I am super excited to be going to more plant conventions. I will be going to the Texas Aeroid Show in Houston on October 26th. So I hope to meet up with anybody who loves plants out there. But as you can see right here, day 2 is still quite busy. I know that Houston PlantCon day 2 wasn't nearly as busy, but day 2 for the Dallas PlantCon seems to have quite a bit of people still. I had a lot of fun meeting up with a lot of the plant foldies, and you can see Toltec plants right there. There goes Pearl in her booth. I love Toltec plants. If you guys haven't seen how beautiful the Toltec plants are, definitely check out my day 1 plant shopping video for PlantCon Dallas. I have parts 1, 2, and 3. They're all an hour and a half long. But as you can see here, I didn't get to actually film Dee Dee's Plants and Pets. Now, Dee Dee's plants, I believe, is based out in California, and she did mention that her booth was pretty much sold through, and she was saying that it was kind of embarrassing that it wasn't as full. I mentioned that I was literally just filming some of the plants. That is a good thing that she sold through quite a bit of the plants. I did love her setup. She had quite a bit of Aglaonemas on the first day, but you can see right over here plant foldies. And for those that are new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. It's because this channel was originally an origami ASMR channel. It has now converted to a daily plant shopping video, daily plant content, and that is the reason why I call everybody plant foldies. Now, I will be showing some more origami paper cranes in some of my future videos. But anyway, so go back to PlantCon. You can see right over here, look at how gorgeous this Anthurium luxurians is. So the one thing I did gain a lot of appreciation for PlantCon was the love for Anthuriums. I always had this notion that Anthuriums were quite challenging of a plant to grow, but ever since I got an Anthurium from Green Spaces ID, I imported one from Indonesia, and I ended up getting some more Anthuriums, growing them in semi-hydroponics, whether it's leca or pond, which is my newest obsession. I've actually been converting a lot of my Alocasia into pond. Actually makes growing Anthuriums quite easy. Now over here is a very nice looking variegated Monstera Peru. I ended up getting one of these as well from Green Spaces ID. I featured them on some of my previous PlantCon videos, So definitely check it out. Definitely follow them on Instagram at Green Spaces ID. Let them know you know them from Richie at Grow Folds. But you can see right here, Dee Dee's plants has quite a bit of cute looking plants, lots of uncommon and rare plants. Like look at how stunning this Philodendron Florida Beauty is. And you can see that it's got quite a bit of variegation. I believe this is for $85. Now with Philodendron Florida Beauty, you do want to give it quite a bit of bright indirect light to really influence the type of variegation it gives. The more light you provide it, the better chances of it having that nice variegation. Now that Philodendron definitely needs to have a pole to actually climb on. Actually, the majority of plants need poles. And you can see right there, that is another gorgeous Philodendron Florida Beauty. We've got this, and I love this. This is a Philodendron nuclear Congo, or Philodendron Congo nuclear for $50. I got lucky by being able to find a starter planter of this particular Philodendron from Hives Plant. But again, that is a beautiful Philodendron, nice variegation. And the thing about it is, a lot of these plants from Dee Dee's plants actually are a nice starter plant. Now these plants will eventually grow into nice mature specimens. You just have to make sure, especially with a lot of the Philodendron, bright indirect light is really the top notch light you can give a lot of these Philodendrons and aroids that you see at PlantCon. Most of them will not tolerate full sun or direct light. And if you give them lower light conditions, their growth is going to be a lot more stunted. So that is what, one thing that you want to keep in mind. Now, plant foldies, you can see right here, Alocasia corms. These are all for $10, and she's got different types of them. We've got the scalp room right here, and you can see that it is in sphagnum moss. We've got the Milo, and then we've got some other Alocasias. Now, whenever I started taking the soil out of my Alocasias, I was able to harvest a couple of Alocasia corms. So we'll see if I can propagate them, but that is a quick way to multiply and propagate your Alocasias, is through corm hunting. And then over here, we have another Anthurium. I really like the look of the stems, that red stem. And what I like about Anthuriums is there are so many different varieties of Anthuriums, so many hybrids. Same thing with Alocasia. So this is an Alocasia bisma. She's reduced it from 30 to 10. And what I found interesting is on day 2 PlantCon, a lot of the pricing for a lot of plants were reduced, whether you will find them for 25% off, or you can see right over here, this one from 30 to 10. I know that Dee Dee was trying to sell a Monstera Thai Constellation, a huge one, which he reduced to $500, which I thought was really a steal because it was a very large, mature plant. Now over here, we have a Philodendron Hederaceum, just a regular one, the green version for $12. Now this is one of the plants. Now most people will say it's a basic common plant, but it is a gorgeous plant. I love the heart-shaped leaves that it has, and it's just a fast grower. Same thing with an Enjoy Pothos. Now Epipremnum aureum Enjoy Pothos, love this. If you're able to actually grow this, and this is only for $16, if you're able to get this plant to grow on a totem pole, a moss pole, you can get the leaves to actually size up quite substantially, and it is such a beautiful variegated plant. Here we have an Epipremnum aureum Global Green Pothos. I love Global Green Pothos. This one is for $20. And the thing about Global Green Pothos, it is a Japanese pothos. It was one that was discovered through a mutation in Japan. And I will say you need to make sure that you watch through this whole video, because I will be featuring rare Japanese pothos that were only shown in the United States for the first time in its full entirety, the whole collection of the Taruno series in this video. So definitely check that out. But you can see right over here, we've got another beautiful Jose Buono, I think Philodendron. I'm not 100% sure. This one is for $70, but look at how gorgeous that variegation is on the leaves. Very ghostly indeed. And the thing about Dee Dee's plants and pets, she had quite a bit of plants from the very first day, but you can see that there's still quite a bit of plants. Like right over here, this was probably the most sought after variegated Alocasia. This is a variegated Alocasia Friedeck, and this one is for $70. I did want to shout out my friend Rena of Rena's Greenhouse. She also had a booth, which I will show you her plants later on. She ended up gifting me a variegated Alocasia Friedeck for free when I went to PlantCon. So I really appreciate her. I will hope that she will continue to do shows in Texas, because I love her plants. She is a fellow Filipina as well. You know, I am a proud Filipino American. I say this in all my videos, just because when you think about all of these beautiful plants, these tropical aroids, it just reminds me of my home country, the Philippines, because a lot of these plants grow so well in a tropical climate, a tropical Southeast Asian country like the Philippines. But to go back to it, you can see that she has quite a bit of plants. We've got some air plants right here. You can see that Dee Dee is helping out some people. If you like her plants, definitely follow Dee Dee's plants on Instagram. She has a lot of social media. And then this is actually one of my favorite philodendrons. This is a Philodendron mayoi. I actually ended up getting one at a big box store through Proven Winners at Home Depot. But you can see how the leaves have that nice fenestration to it. The thing I will say about Philodendron mayoi is, number one, it is going to need something to climb up on, and number two, it needs a little bit more humidity. I've noticed that if I don't provide my mayoi with quite a bit of humidity or a little bit more supplemental humidity, the leaves take quite a bit to unfurl. Now we've got some Fluval stratum there. I've never used that as a growing medium, but I heard it was really good. And then they've got some Blackstone Pond, which is actually really uncommon. I will say plant foldies, we will see if all of my plants that have converted into pond are gonna do well. I actually potted up some of the Aglaonema I bought from PlantCon into pond. So we'll see if that works, but definitely my Alocasias. I've seen so many YouTube videos talking about, you know, growing Alocasia specifically in semi-hydroponics, specifically in ponds. So we're gonna see if that works. Now I just need to know a little bit about just the plant nutrients that I need to put into the actual substrate. Here is a Monstera mint, and you know, Plant Foldies Monstera mint, that is one of my my wish list Monsteras. I really love Monsteras. The Monsteras that I'm looking for specifically would be the Monstera mint. I am also looking to get a Monstera aurea with some really good aurea variegation. And then you can see right there, that is a Monstera Burley Marks Flame. That's awesome. And then also a variegated Hoya compacta. Beautiful variegated Hindu rope, and I did see quite a bit of Hoyas at PlantCon, and that's the thing, Plant Foldies. Whenever you go to a plant convention, you will be surprised at the amount of plants you will see. You will see common plants, rare, uncommon, all of it. Now over here is an Epipremnum aureum Manjula pothos in a 6-inch planter for $50. And the thing about Manjula pothos, I believe that everybody is a fan of Manjula pothos. I definitely am. The reason why I like the Manjula pothos is because it tends to have larger, rounder leaves, and the variegation is stunning. Now I am thinking about buying a 6-inch planter of Manjula pothos, just because it's really challenging to find Manjula pothos in this size. They're just a very slow growing Epipremnum aureum, and the thing about it is I just love that variegation. It would be so cool to actually see Manjula pothos size up on a totem pole. Just a little bit about my personal plant collection. Since I've been to PlantCon, I've been really inspired to really work on my plant room. I've got quite a bit already set up. I'm getting my grow lights, my humidifiers. So we're gonna see my personal plant collection soon. So again, Plant Foldies, if you are interested in seeing a houseplant tour, please make sure you are leaving a comment for me, letting me know that you do want to see a plant house plant tour. Now you can see right over here, we've got some staghorn ferns, and this is another place called Tropical Exotic. Now this is another plant vendor that basically doesn't have a brick and mortar plant shop. This is actually one of those plant shops, I think, that just kind of pops up at these shops. A lot of these plants are pretty much sourced out from Thailand and Indonesia, just overseas in Southeast Asia. Really like that they have a lot of varieties of plants. Now, whenever you look at these imported plants, you will notice that they are all in sphagnum moss. The reason being is plants can't really enter the United States with soil because of the potential of pests. So these plants have actually undergone what they call a phytosanitary certificate, to where the home country has basically stated that these plants are pest free and have pretty much gone through all the regulations that the USDA will actually need for these plants to enter. But you can see here we've got another Philodendron, Congo nuclear. That is a really nice plant. And then we have this one only for $10
Philodendron mame. This is a nice starter plant. I probably should have bought this philodendron, and after going to PlantCon, I have had such a huge interest in a lot of the philodendrons. I just feel like philodendrons in general are quite easy to grow. So, you know, for me, it's one of those things where you are really influenced by the types of plants you've seen. Case point, not a lot of people talk about Aglaonema because we don't see a lot of these types of Aglaonemas readily available in the United States. Now, I am based out in North Dallas, and we do have quite a bit of big box stores and even really nice looking local plant nurseries, but to see an Aglaonema hybrid red, like I love the fact that this is a super red Aglaonema. I would totally buy it. I do think that this is for $50. It's a little bit pricey for me. And then this is another Aglaonema I regret not purchasing. I've had one of these before. This is an Aglaonema super white. And when you talk about an Aglaonema or a plant that is pretty much white, here it is. And the thing about it is this will hold on to its white even if you don't really provide it nearly as much light as it needs. You know, they always market Aglaonema as being low light tolerant. Do not believe that. I mean, they are low light tolerant, but Aglaonema, especially the ones that are super colorful like this, you need to provide it with a lot of bright indirect light. The other thing I would say about Aglaonema, especially these really beautiful hybrids, is they need to have pretty good chunky draining soil. You don't want to overwater an Aglaonema. They have really thick roots. They're almost like succulent in a way they behave. You want to water them when their soil is completely dry. Now over here, we've got some variegated bird's nests, Anthurium, and I love this. So I ended up actually getting a variegated bird's nest Anthurium from another favorite vendor of mine, Wild Roots, which is another family-owned nursery out in New Braunfels, Texas. But you can see right here, beautiful Anthurium right here. And when I say that there are so many varieties of Anthuriums, I just think it is amazing. And it's one of those things where you would just be surprised with the amount of plants that they have available at these big box, not big box stores, but yes, they have a lot of plants in big box stores, but at PlantCon 2024 in Dallas, I had so much fun, and to be able to go there for both days. Again, I wanted to thank the PlantCon media, especially to Ava for being able to sponsor me for some early access tickets. I was able to film hours and hours of PlantCon videos before the crowds ended up buying a lot of the plants. So if you are actually just discovering my PlantCon videos, please definitely check out my playlist. I have a PlantCon playlist on my YouTube channel, and definitely check out all the other ones. I have about 4 PlantCon videos, actually 5 before this one. So you can see right here though, plant foldies. Look at these Aglaonemas. I keep going back to the Aglaonema super white. That is another Aglaonema I definitely need to add in my collection, because look at how stunning and how white it is. And this is actually a easy to care for plant. So plant foldies, if you ever run into a super white, I would highly recommend getting it. I would highly recommend everybody just getting into Aglaonemas. I just feel like people don't talk about Aglaonemas, so I will continue to try to plant-fluence you guys into getting into Aglaonemas. Now over here, we've got a ton of assorted imported Hoyas, different types of Hoyas, and you can see that they have a picture of the Hoya blooms. PlantCon definitely got me interested in Hoyas, and what I want to do with my Hoyas is actually grow some of them in pond. We'll see how that works out for me. And you can see all of these assorted different imports. This one is a variegated chia pens for $70, and then we have some another plant right over here for $70. Look at the leaf shape of it. Really love the variegation of this plant. And you know, with imported plants from either Indonesia, Thailand, the Philippines, or even in South America, most of the plants are going to be in sphagnum moss, and so there is an acclimation period that you have to make sure to take care of. What I would do is, if you buy a plant, say from this vendor, you would have to take the sphagnum moss, all of the sphagnum moss away from the soil. I mean, not the soil, the roots, and then you would take the roots and make sure to clean them out and make sure that there's not any sphagnum moss in there. I would recommend soaking them and just leaving them in water for a good 48 to 72 hours before you transfer them to a substrate. Sometimes there may not be enough root system for them to go into a substrate. I would just keep them in water, and I would change the water very frequently, maybe every other day, every day, to make sure that the roots grow a little bit more and stabilize
stabilized. The good thing about buying plants that are imported, especially if you buy them during a plant convention, is you don't have to pay for the phytosanitary certificate. You also don't have to pay for shipping, which brings me to another point. If you know that there's a certain vendor that's going to be at PlantCon, for instance, or even the Texas Aeroid, I would go ahead and get in contact with them. I know that I've gotten in contact with Art Flower Garden and Green Spaces IDs, because I want to get a couple of some aglaonemas brought to the show to where I could just purchase them and not really have to worry about the free the shipping, and also just the phytosanitary certificate. But you can see right here, plant foldies, lots of different types of plants. And the thing about it is, on the second day, all of these plants were buy 3 get 1 free, and so like I was almost tempted to buy 3. But the thing about it is, my plant budget from day 1 was skyrocket high, and so I really wanted to just spend a little bit of time soaking in all of PlantCon, and just really enjoying the moment, and just being really grateful that PlantCon was available in Dallas. It was actually in Allen, Texas, to be exact, and it was literally a 15 to 20 minute drive south of where I am based at. And I really hope that they choose this same venue, just because I felt like this venue was pretty large. It was really organized, and there was enough space for a lot of the plant vendors. But you can see here, plant foldies, lots of assorted imported plants. You can see that my green wagon that I carried around doesn't have any plants. That was super full on day 1. I keep going back to this aglaonema. I'm going to go ahead and put it back because, it is a beautiful plant, but I don't really want to spend $40 quite yet on an aglaonema. I ended up buying quite a bit of aglaonema from Toltec Plants, which is another favorite plant vendor of mine. If you haven't already, please make sure you are following Toltec Plants on Instagram. They are a wholesale plant importer, but I do believe they will also sell to individuals. You just need to message them on Instagram. And then you can see right over here, they had some different wood stations, like wood carvings and things like that for terrariums. It looks really nice. I just spent a little bit of time looking at that, and then we're gonna walk over here and just show you all of the woodwork that they have. You can see there's quite a bit of people, and I really tried my best not to get people's faces in my videos since it is PlantCon. I was trying to be respectful. And now we're gonna be going to the Koke Garden. So Koke Garden is also a local plant vendor out in Dallas. So I'm super excited to show you Koke Dama. So Koke Dama is the art of actually growing plants in a moss bowl, like a moss ball. Like you can see right over here, this is a beautiful bromeliad. I love the color of the bromeliad. And you can see we also have a Calathea macchiana in a kokedama style display. So I really love the fact that they had something a little bit more unique as compared to a lot of the plant vendors. This was probably one of the more unique stations. I mean, you can see right here, Philodendron Ring of Fire, beautiful philodendron, but when you actually have it in a moss bowl, that is super cool. Now I want to actually make my own kokedama with some of my plants. So there's a couple of philodendron I want to make that in. I want to feature that on my YouTube channel. There is a certain elegance about kokedama. Now, plant foldies, let me know in the comments what you think about kokedama. Again, if you've already made it this far into my video, please make sure you are hitting that like button. I mentioned that quite often in my videos, just because what people may not realize is when you hit the like button, it really does help push these videos out to more plant lovers like yourself. With the plant foldy community growing at a really fast pace, like we are now at 10,400 subscribers. I want to thank you guys for all of the viewership, as well as you guys engaging with me. So whenever you leave a comment or 2 or a dozen, or you hit the like button, it does really validate my efforts. It really does reward my efforts to create long format content. Now over here, plant foldies, we got a Philodendron Hederaceum Brazil in a kokedama style display. Love the look of this particular Philodendron Hederaceum, and I don't know if you agree, but looking at all of these kokedama, it just gives it a very elegant, stylish, modern look about it. Like, look at this right here. You would never think to put a Hoya carnosa, Crimson Queen, in a kokedama style ball to display. And I love the fact that when you change the plate that it's actually sitting on, it kind of changes the mood or the look of the plant. So I like that a lot. For me, you would think that I would really just be into very minimalistic plants. My thing about it is, it's not that I really want a very minimalistic look in my house. I actually have quite a bit of stuff there. I'm trying to declutter, but it's more of, I like that modern contemporary vibe. You know, when you talk about my, the title of my YouTube channel, Grow Fold, I really like the elements that Japanese culture has, whether it's kokedama like this. I mean, this is something that is very much Japanese, and it's very much a unique take to fuse their culture, the Eastern culture, into something as tropical, you know, with tropical plants like the Alocasia black velvet, stunning. And every single plant that I saw here were plants that you could find at a big box store or local plant nursery, like this Peperomia Ginny, beautiful kokedama. I actually was tempted to buy this because I love Peperomia Guinea. The red borders, especially when you give it quite a bit of light, is beautiful. And the thing about it is, the way you would take care of kokedama is, if you're going to water the plant, all you have to do is submerge the whole moss bowl into water, soak it up, and then let it dry. You know, let it obviously drain, and then stick it back on top of the plate, and that is it. Now, this is going to be an easy to care for plant. This is another Dracaena. And you know, when you think about different types of plants, whenever you're growing them in a kokedama style ball, you want to look for plants, especially if you're not the most versed in plant care, that are going to be a little bit easier to take care of. For instance, a Syngonium. I love the Syngonium. And what's cool about Koke Gardens is you can actually get custom made orders created from her, and she will also up pot your kokedama if need be. So really love the fact that that is a possibility when it comes down to buying something here. I am really fortunate that she is actually local, you know, somebody that's local in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So for those that like kokedama, definitely follow Koke Garden on Instagram, and definitely check out the beautiful art it is. It's definitely more of a curated look for plants. It's not something that you could just find on a daily basis. I actually have a Syngonium Godzilla that I'm thinking about making into a kokedama. I think since it's a slow growing plant, it would just hold itself in there. I might actually do that this weekend. We will see. But I was inspired to do some kokedama. You can see right there that large Monstera deliciosa. She's got some Haworthias, for instance, right over here. You've got a Ficus elastica burgundy or Tenikio on the right, and then a Ficus or a Dracaena lemon lime surprise over there. But you can see you can make kokedama. I've seen tutorials. I'm definitely going to do something of that nature. Or if you are somebody who doesn't want to just do it yourself, you can go to the Koke Garden and actually get a kokedama there. But there were quite a bit of people that were intrigued and interested in this type of work. Like right here is another Anthurium, a blooming Anthurium. That is actually a really good plant. Actually, most plants are suitable to kokedama. You can even actually have kokedama as like a hanging type plant. The one she had some hanging ones, as well as ones that just sit on a plate. And you can see right there, we've got an Alocasia, we've got a Janet Craig compacta Dracaena, a Peperomia peperonoides, or money tree, Chinese money tree plant right there. And then we just have all sorts of other plants. Now, what I want to do though is, and look at this right here, actually, before I mention that, beautiful bromeliad, love the pink colors. I just feel like with kokedama, if you're going to use like the fake moss, but I'm even thinking about ordering moss spores to actually have legit moss growing around the fake moss to make it like a very green ball. We're going to see if I can make that work. But as I'm doing this voiceover, I am looking at my Syngonium Godzilla. I just feel like it would make a good candidate for a kokedama style setup. So you can even see that kokedama can even be made by succulents, and that is so cool. Like, look at how beautiful that is. Again, Plant Foldies, highly recommend checking out kokedama. Highly recommend checking out Koke Garden in Dallas. Like right here is one of my favorite Chrysalas. This is that Chrysala tricolor. Beautiful plant, because you can see that there are some edging of like red and pink around it. And again, with succulents, you want to provide quite a bit of light. I just recently got a euphorbia ghost the other day. So, you know, I am starting to kind of get some more of my succulents and cacti collection. We'll see what that looks like for me long term. But plant foldies, what do you guys think of the kokedama on display right here? Let me know in the comments again. And I'm just going to keep panning over a couple of more kokedama creations by Koke Garden. You can see that there is a lot of there are just many different types of easy care plants. I love the fact that they utilize a lot of easy care plants like Dracaena, Sansevieria snake plants. We've also got a Procera aquatica, and just several plants that you can find at like a big box store created in a kokedama style display. Again, these are more curated looks for a somebody who likes a really stylish looking display for plants like this beautiful bromeliad, for instance. This is one of my favorite types of bromeliads, the ones that have the pink coloration on it. But just to me, making it in a kokedama style, that looks absolutely stunning. And then you can see right over here, they've just got a jade pothos right here, a bird's nest anthurium, and we've also got a spathiphyllum or peace lily, and just more kokedama plants. All of her plants are priced fairly well. You can see that they're either $30-$40, maybe a little bit more, but for the most part, just a curated plant like this, that is actually not a bad price at all. We also have hanging like kokedama type displays like this Philodendron heteration lemon lime. You already know plant foldies if you've been watching my videos for quite some time. I love neon colored plants. Now with all neon colored plants, you want to provide it quite a bit of bright indirect light for them to really maintain that neon or yellow variegation. Otherwise they tend to get a little bit more green. And you can see right over here is a Hydra helix, or what you call a Hedera helix. That is an English ivy, and for those that are new to the channel, I kind of mispronounced the way Hedera helix is said, so that's the reason why. There is a long story, but for now, that is an English ivy in a kokedama setup. Also a Rodeo oyster plant, which I love as well. Rodeo oyster plants, they're easy to grow, and depending on how much light you can give, you can get some really good variegation. Again, we have another peace lily right over here. I might actually ask her to get me a custom made kokedama. I'm thinking about getting my Syngonium Godzilla into a kokedama style. We'll see what that looks like. And you can see we've got calatheas as well. The only thing about calatheas is, again, that is such a finicky plant. They're beautiful, but they're very challenging to grow, at least for me long term. Now, for those that have been able to grow kokedama, not kokedama, but calathea long term, please leave it in the comments about your care tips, what you do to be successful. But for me, I don't know. Calatheas just haven't been a very good grower for my plant collection. We'll see what that looks like, but I may eventually add a calathea. We'll see. But as you can see right here, so many different types of plants for kokedama, and there was actually quite a bit of people going to the kokedama station. You know, this isn't something that you would often see at a big box store for sure, and even local plant nurseries. So I'm glad that I ran into this booth right here. You can see right here they've got an alocasia, for instance. There's just several ways to display kokedama. What I want to do if I did get a kokedama is actually buy some moss spores and actually grow real moss on top of the fake moss that's used for this. I think it would be a really nice element, especially if the ball is super green and lush. Let me know in the comments, so plant foldies, if you've actually grown kokedama style plants in your collection. How do they work for you? Now, again, as far as plant care tips, you just have to look at the particular plant that you have. But for the watering, you just literally need to take the whole moss bowl into a bowl of water, submerge it, let it soak the water in, and then let it just drain all of the water out. Sit it back on the plate, and then you are good to go. But for the most part, the maintenance for kokedama is super easy. Whenever you are ready to up pot it or get it into a larger size ball, all you have to do is cut the ball open and then just create a larger ball. There are several YouTube, tutorials on how to make kokedama. I want to attempt to make one, but I also want to just get a curated one from her, since all of her pricing is really fair. I mean, $30-$40 for these are not bad pricing at all, and that includes the beautiful plates that are utilized for these plants. Now, Coco Garden actually does several shows around the DFW area, so hopefully I'll be able to see what's the next show for her. They've been in the business for about 10 years, and if you are watching this and you love kokedama, please follow them on Coco Garden. Koke Garden on Instagram. You can message them directly, see if you can connect with them. But as far as that, I did regret not purchasing a kokedama this time, but if I do see them again, I will definitely purchase one. I was thinking of getting maybe the Pilea plant, the Chinese money plant. I thought that was super cute, or the bromeliad. I think those plants have a really nice way of being displayed in a kokedama style. But if you have any insights on kokedama, again, plant foldies, please leave that in the comments. And then you can see right here, we are at Art Garden Flowers. All of these plants are imported from Indonesia. I ended up, buying a couple of plants from this booth on the first day. You can see they've got several anthuriums. Love anthuriums. And again, as far as anthuriums are concerned, they are not as challenging as what most people will say. I mean, some people will say they do need a lot of humidity if you grow them in semi-hydroponic. So I'm growing some in leca and pond. They've done fabulous for me. I ended up buying a Philodendron orange marmalade for $35 because look at how large that Philodendron is. Again, plant foldies, any plant that is imported from Indonesia or all of these international vendors, they're going to have their plants in sphagnum moss just because you can't bring plants from overseas in soil substrates. What I would do if you're going to buy any of these international vendors is you need to make sure that you take all of the sphagnum moss off of the roots, clean the roots completely, and then put them in a bowl of water with some Super Thrive solution. That B vitamin is going to help replenish the plants from the such a long travel. And then after 72 hours, 48 to 72 hours, you can put the plant into a soil substrate. The only thing about it is, if there aren't enough roots that are viable, I would leave them in water for a little bit longer to get a little bit more roots in them. Now, as far as this, the plants, like this plant right here, this Homelamena Pink Diamond, I think this was like for $125. If this were around like the $50 range, I would have totally bought this Homelamena just because look at how beautiful that variegation is. I love pink plants. I love variegated pink plants. Just pink in general is absolutely stunning. And then right over here is another booth that I love. This is Rena's greenhouse. This is one of my friends. She's actually Filipina as well. She's based out in Florida, and she has some really nice looking plants. Like right over here, we've got an Epipremnum Pinatum marble, and it looks like she ended up getting one of the rare Hoyas from Green Spaces ID. I think this one is for $100, and it's in a terracotta planter. I love terracotta planters. I like the look of it. It gives me like a classic plant look. And then over here, plant foldies, we've got some variegated ZZ plants. I ended up wanting to buy one this time around, but my funds went super low for day 2. So I ended up just admiring it for this video. Now, Monstera Mint, this one is for $250. Look at the variegation on the Monstera Mint. And this is another Monstera that is a wish list plant of mine. She's got a pretty good size Monstera Mint. I definitely want to add this to my collection. Same thing with like a Monstera Aurea. Here's a beautiful Philodendron warcxvzi. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Probably not, I probably butchered it, but this is the variegated form. It's such a beautiful plant for $245. Like, I would have wanted to get this plant. I recently acquired the Aurea version of it and is absolutely stunning. Same thing with this variegated Monstera Mint, beautiful variegation. She had several of my wish list plants, and I know that I'm going to see Rena again. She tends to show at different locations. She did tell me that she did bring nearly as many plants as she did for the Houston one, the Houston plant con that happened, I think, back back in May. She had several varieties of plants, but I am so thankful that she was able to get me a free variegated Alocasia frydek as a gift. I really appreciated that, and I was able to acquire a gorgeous straight Syngonium strawberry ice as well for a really good price. Now over here is another Philodendron yellow Congo. Love that as well. You know, with all of these variegated Philodendron Congos, they come in many different varieties, but the yellow form, I love that yellow variegation. Now again, with all of these plants, we want to make sure that we are providing it with quite a bit of bright indirect light. Over here is a variegated Alocasia scalp room for $245. $45. Love that as well. I recently got one, just the green form from Green Spaces ID, imported from Indonesia. Beautiful shape of it, and that scalp room is actually endemic to my home country, which is the Philippines. And then over here we've got a variegated Philodendron gloriosum, gorgeous plant. This one is for $345. This is one of my biggest wish list plants because it has velvety texture, and then the variegation is just breathtaking right here. Like, look at that. And it's got a new leaf unfurling, super healthy. And I will say Rena's greenhouse does have a shop on Etsy. So if you want to purchase plants from her, she does ship. I would highly recommend her. She's always got some very healthy looking plants. The plants are priced at a very fair price. And I mean, like this right here, who would not want a variegated Philodendron gloriosum? Again, plant foldies, if you like all of the variegated plants from Rena's greenhouse and you haven't hit the like button for this video, please hit the like button for this video. It definitely helps my channel a lot, and then it also just helps push this channel for more people to see these gorgeous plants. I'm hoping that the plant con videos will increase our pull and we'll get more plant foldies. But as you can see right over here, Steve's Leaves, you know, Steve's Leaves is one of the best plant nurseries in the entire United States. They had a huge booth, lots of people shopping at Steve's Leaves, and you can see right here they've got a massive Philodendron Yopii. And the other day, day one, they actually had a large Philodendron around this size. I think it was a Philodendron Pluto, but you can see they had several monsteras. They had Monstera albos, Monstera Thai constellations. They've had a bunch of Hoyas, begonias, you name it. Steve's Leaves had it, and I was happy that I bought quite a bit of plants from Steve's Leaves. My goal is to be able to promote Steve's Leaves. Not that they need the promotion because everybody knows Steve's Leaves, but I'm hoping that, you know, through these PlantCon videos, they can really see the diversity of plants that they offer. You know, a lot of people will say that Steve's Leaves is known for its begonias, but Steve's Leaves is known for everything. Now, I can understand why people would say that they are known for their begonias because they had a lot of hybrids that they've created from Steve's Leaves greenhouse. But you can see here, variegated begonia, Guinea, Galaxy, beautiful plant. That one is for $250. Now this is an angel wing type begonia. Really like the look of that. And then you can see that this particular Philodendron has a new leaf unfurling. We have some more Monstera albos, and then on day 2 they replenished with some Monstera aureas. Now this one I believe was for $250. Look at how much yellow aurea variegation it had. That is one of my wish list plants. I really want to get an aurea at some point, but you know, that is a plant that is a little bit pricey. I'm hoping that I can get one eventually for a fair price. We'll see what that looks like. But you know, my plant budget was off the roof day 1. I basically spent quite a bit of money, and you know, I kept on trying to justify myself on the amount of money I spent from PlantCon. So through y'all's viewership and even a potential super sticker or super thanks, that might help refund my plant budget that I spent at PlantCon. You know, I'm just working really hard trying to get more content for you guys, and so I just appreciate those that have actually spent time just watching my plant content and really admiring the plants alongside with me. Because Steve's Leaves, I mean, like this right here, this Syngonium, I was so glad that I was able to get from Ivy Plants. It's another local plant vendor out in North Dallas. This is an Ormthong. I love Ormthong just because it has that large Syngonium round leaf with that beautiful cream variegation, and Steve's Leaves has that. There were a couple of Syngoniums from PlantCon that I wish I would have gotten, as well as this Syndapsis pictus variegated Right here, I like this one as well. I'm hoping that I would eventually get a variegated Syndapsis. The thing about Syndapsis though is they are a little bit slower growing when you compare them to like an Epipremnum aureum or a pothos plant. So I tend to look for those vining plants to be a little bit more vigorous. Call me crazy, but I like to see fast growing plants. They just bring me so much joy. And that's the reason why I feel like even me being interested in Aglaonema is kind of crazy, because Aglaonema tend to be a little bit slower growing. Now over here is an Epipremna pinnatum marble, I think. It doesn't have nearly as high variegation, but you know what? That is another plant that is endemic to the Philippines, and I love seeing that on an international stage. And then you can see here, I don't know what this particular philodendron is, but it is also another massive philodendron. But you know, that's another dream of mine, is to be able to tour Steve's Leaves nursery. I would love to be able to film them and show their plants on my YouTube channel. We'll see if that ever does happen. I'm hoping that it may happen for me at some point. And then this is some type of Monstera. Really nice looking Monstera right here. You can see it's a little bit different. And then over here are some more variegated begonias. And then this is a really cool Monstera deliciosa compacta. So it doesn't get really large. It stays a little bit more compact. And I thought that was really interesting. If you are a Monstera lover, you definitely want to go to like plant conventions, because you will be surprised about the amount of different types of Monsteras or plants that you will see in general. There were quite a bit to choose from. And, you know, with Steve's Leaves being a local nursery, I'm hoping that I'll be able to acquire some of these plants. I mean, that is such a beautiful Monstera, and you can see that it's already fenestrated. You can see the second fenestrations, the holes in them. And then you can see they do have several different types of Hoyas. Now, I ended up buying some trellises, some round trellises, because I want some of my Hoyas to kind of circle around a round trellis. We'll see what that looks like. But what I do like about Hoyas is that they are more durable plants. They are definitely drought tolerant. Like, you don't necessarily have to water them often, and actually if you do, that's actually going to kill them from overwatering. And let's talk about how this beautiful Syngonium variegated chia pens has such a beautiful variegated leaf. That is stunning, and this one is for $70. It's interesting, variegated Syngonium chia pens is still holding on to a quite inexpensive price. I don't know if it's just because it hasn't been like propagated, or if tissue culture hasn't really made it more readily available. Same thing with Monstera albos. I've noticed that while there's still quite a bit of Monstera albos, I would think with Monstera Thai constellation becoming more tissue cultured, you would think that they would actually tissue culture Monstera aureas and Monstera albos to be a little bit more readily available. But you can see right here, there is a little bit of browning on a Monstera aurea. That tends to happen just because they don't hold on to their aurea variegation nearly as well. It eventually starts to crisp and brown up, so you'll end up having to take some scissors to cut off that brown part. But again, that is one of my wish list plants. I am curious, plant foldies, in the comment section, if you can, leave what your wish list plants are. I'm curious to see what are your wish list plants, if they're similar to mine. Why do you want that plant? Again, I love the engagement, so anytime you guys leave comments, you already know I'm going to definitely comment and respond to them. And for those that continue to leave positive comments in my comment section, I really appreciate it. I am open to feedback, as long as it's in a respectful manner. You know, I did see some negative feedback that came through, and I was a little bit shocked that it happened. But you know what? The internet is a vast a vast place, and pretty much anybody can say whatever. But I just would hope that people will always, step back, think before you click, and really see how you communicate on social media platforms. I'm always an advocate about just being positive, being kind, being selfless, and just being aware of how you communicate. It was a little bit disappointing to get some of that negative feedback, but as always, my Plant Foldy community is always out there to defend me, as well as just really justify some of the moves I made with my YouTube channel. But anyways, to get off of the rant, you can see right here, we've got quite a bit of Steve's Leaves plants. Now, these are plants that are priced at around $5. I ended up getting the aluminum steel plant. I just thought it was such a cool looking plant. And while it is more of a uncommon plant that's not really expensive, it's a plant that I definitely added into my collection, as well as that red irisine rosy plant. Really liked it a lot, but I didn't realize that it is such a thirsty plant. Like, I literally have to water it every other day. Otherwise, it will like droop and it looks like it's about to die. So that's another plant that I wasn't really I was actually surprised that it needed a lot more water. Again, though, it is a beautiful plant. It reminds me of one of my plant foldies, Rose. That is a plant you definitely need to add into your collection since you like red plants. But as you can see right here, I'm going to keep walking around. So this is the Market Botany area. They've got some plant propagations right over here. They've got some prop drops to help with your plant propagations. Over here, you can see we've got some Syngonium confettis. Now, this one actually has more of like mature Syngonium confetti form. The thing about Syngonium confetti is as it matures, the pink actually becomes less prominent. And then right next to it, we've got some Philodendron painted ladies. And then we've got a Dieffenbachia camouflage. Beautiful plant. I love how it's got light leaves. And, you know, with Dieffenbachia, I am debating on whether I should add a Dieffenbachia into my collection. But they have such stunning leaves. And when I went to the Philippines about 2 months ago for vacation, Dieffenbachia were just growing so wildly. They were just growing so easily in the Philippines. Same thing with Aglaonema. It's just the amount of Aglaonema I saw over in the Philippines for such cheap pricing. It was crazy. Now this one right here is an Aglaonema. I think it's called Ghost for only $14. That's not a bad price. I actually can find that at a big box store like Walmart or even Lowe's as a Costa Farms self-watering planter. So let's see what else that they have over here. You know, these are some of the plant vendors I didn't get to see on PlantCon day one. And you can see this is Isaac. His YouTube channel is Hi JR Sings. He was walking around with me, and thanks to Isaac for sporting that Grow Folds t-shirt. Again, if you are interested in getting a Grow Folds t-shirt, they are $25 with the free shipping. So just hit me up on Instagram. My Instagram name is @GrowFolds. But again, all of these plants, these little starter plants, these are all props. I believe that one is a Philodendron Florida green, and we have some more Philodendron right over here. These are really cool. And that's the thing about PlantCon as well, is you can find a lot of starter plants. Now we're gonna go over here. This is the El Huizache nursery. Now they are based out in Brownsville, Texas, so they travel quite far, and they had several desert rose. So I loved desert rose, and I recently found me a desert rose that was sport variegated at a big box store called Home Depot. But you can see right here, desert rose, beautiful plant. It is a plant that you can make into bonsai. There are different types of blooms, and I'm hoping that on the next PlantCon I will purchase some desert rose. It's always hard to find them in different bloom colors. Like look at that one. That's a variegated bloom right there. Beautiful plant, and they have different types of desert rose. Now this is more of a succulent type plant. You definitely want to give it full sun or quite a bit of light for it to really thrive. It tends to be more on the dry side in terms of watering. You don't want to overwater it, otherwise you'll end up killing it. You can propagate these. In order for them to really develop a thick caudex or a trunk, you want to cut it back so that way it focuses more energy on the root, like the trunk section. But you can see here they do have quite a bit of desert rose. I believe these were all for like $30, but you know, to be able to find yellow blue ones, variegated bloom ones, that is not a bad price at all. And you can see right here, I don't know what the bloom color is, but they did have several desert rose. There was actually quite a bit of people buying from their booth, and I really like that. And that's the thing about PlantCon, is not only do you find like rare aeroids, other plants that are also available would be succulents and cactus, as well as like these desert rose. Now one desert rose that I wish I would have purchased, and I'll show you soon, is the variegated desert rose that they had. They had it for like $40, but you can see this one right here is more of the compact form of a desert rose, so it's a little bit more miniature and compact. These would be perfect bonsai type plants. And then you can see they've also got air plants, they've got different succulents and cactus, and then you can see right over here is that variegated desert rose. What a stunner. I believe it was like for $40. I probably should have bought it, but you know, hindsight is 2020. there will always be a time where I can find that again, but that is a beautiful plant. I love the variegation on the leaves. And again, with desert rose, I believe she said that the bloom was actually a beautiful red color, and then they had another variegated desert rose. So there's not quite a lot of variegated desert rose. It is a little bit slower growing as to what she told me as far as the green form, but that's with any plant. You know, any plant that has more variegation, there's less green for them to really photosynthesize and create chlorophyll for the plant to feed on. But again, look at how gorgeous that variegation is on the desert rose. So it was always nice to, you know, discover different types of plants. That's the thing about plant cons or plant conventions. Not only do you find all of the rare aroids and tropical plants, you'll find some unique plants like desert rose, succulents and cacti, euphorbia, as well as like kokedama, as well as bonsai. So I didn't really see a bonsai station at this PlantCon, which was slightly disappointing. So I'm hoping at the Texas Aroid show I may be able to see that. But you can see over here they had a bunch of assorted Hoyas. Now these are all propagated from her personal collection, and I really like that a lot. So all of these Hoyas were actually propagated in-house. They weren't sourced out from another greenhouse, but her personal collection. So I really like that a lot. There were some interesting Hoya that I should have bought as well. There's a lot of like plants I should have bought. I should probably do a separate video of the plants I regret not purchasing, but you can see right here there's a variegated Hoya carrii, beautiful plant. I ended up finding this though at a big box store, grocery store called Kroger for only $7. Now this is what I wanted to buy for $35. This is a variegated Hoya carrii splash. Now that one is a little bit more uncommon to find. I'm hoping that I can find it, and I finally got a this Hoya right over here, as well as the variegated Hoya reverse variegation. I just recently acquired that, so super happy. I'm starting to increase my Hoya collection. But you can see this splash one right here, this Hoya carrii splash is only for $35. And I wish I would have purchased this because I love the splashy tones of Hoyas. I'm curious to see what the Hoya bloom is. And then you can see right over here is a variegated reverse Hoya carrii. This one was $45, and it is a little bit more uncommon to find. It is more pricey as compared to the other two Hoya carrii. Love the leaf shape. That heart-shaped leaf is so pretty. And then you can see over here more assorted Hoyas available. You can see they've got some assorted succulents right over here. The pricing is not bad. They actually had a special going on for these assorted succulents. You can do succulent arrangements. You know, again, I am not that versed with succulents or cacti. They tend to not do well for me. I don't know if it's just the watering that I do. You would think that since I'm an underwaterer that I wouldn't kill succulents, but maybe it's the lighting. They just don't do well for me. And then when I thought about taking them outside and growing them into full sun, that wasn't a really good idea as well for the actual succulent. So speaking of succulents, this is the next booth I went to. This is a South Texas succulent. You can see that this one has an interesting name. I'm not going to say it out loud, but this one is for $200. What an interesting name. It's kind of funny, kind of not, but I don't know. You interpret it for what it is. And then you can see that they have some really cool variegated cactus. What an interesting booth as well. And, you know, for those that love cactus and succulents, especially my plant foldie from Canada, Kathy, I know you love succulents and cactus. I thought of you when I filmed this, and I really did try to get some more succulents and cactus in the PlantCon videos that I filmed. I just feel like there is a niche. There is is a love for cactus and succulents. You know, oftentimes whenever we look at, you know, plants on YouTube or social media, most people tend to go toward the aroids or tropical plants, but there is a whole new world when it comes to like succulents and cactus. There's a bunch of love for, say, bonsai as well, kokedama, outdoor gardening, vegetable gardening, you know, and those are all of the things that I want to touch on in terms of my YouTube channel. So hopefully I will be able to showcase that. But you can see here, that is actually a desert rose codex that has several growth points. Really cool looking one. I'm curious to see what the flowers are going to be on that. And then you can just see that they have several different types of variegated succulents and cactus. They are based out further down south in Texas. This is another local grower though, and you can see that they have them in very much porous soil substrates. Definitely not anything that would hold a lot of moisture, because cactus and succulents need fast draining soil. The soil I actually use, if I'm going to go actually put them in a soil substrate, would be a bonsai soil mix that I buy from Amazon from the Bonsai Supply. Really good brand of soil for these particular succulents and cactus. But I do love that they have ones that are a little bit more cost effective in pricing. The variegated cactus obviously are going to spend, you're going to spend a little bit more, but look at all of the different varieties of cactus and succulents. Again, I am not that great with the cactus and succulents, so if you have any tips on what cactus or succulents do well for beginners, leave that in the comment. And if you made it this far, I mean, seriously, if you made it this far, please make sure you are hitting the like button for my plant con video. Again, I want to try to get these videos pushed out to as many plant lovers, because I feel like if more people see what a plant convention looks like, there's going to be more excitement, more people attending these plant conventions. Now over here is Living and Growing. This is another plant vendor that's based out in Houston. You can see they have a Monstera aurea, and this is another Filipino plant vendor. I love meeting a bunch of Filipino plant vendors. There were quite a bit of them actually at PlantCon in Dallas and definitely in Houston. So I was glad to have met some of them. So you can see that they have some rare and uncommon plants. You can see that this is some type of variegated philodendron. I'm not sure what the plant ID is for them, but you can see that Living and Growing is actually on Facebook as well as Instagram. So please make sure you are following their social media and supporting them. But you can see that they have quite a bit of common and uncommon plants. They've got some Epipremnum pinnatum marble. Really love the look of that variegation, as well as other variegated plants right over here. I'm not sure what the plant ID is for this one, so Plantfoldies, again, if you know, leave it in the comments. This one is for $35 and it is variegated. You know, it's just really interesting that any speckle of variegation increases the plant price. Now, this is a variegated Scindapsus mayari. I really wanted this. This one was for $45, but look at how gorgeous that variegation is. Again, you know, these Scindapsus are just a little bit too slow growing for me to really just go after them and buy them. And then also you need to grow them on like a trellis, a moss pole, something that is going to have them attached for them to really be happy. Because if you grow them down as like a hanging basket plant, their leaves get smaller and smaller. Now this is an interesting Aglaonema. This is an Aglaonema seafoam. This is another Aglaonema for $70. This is actually a pretty uncommon rare Aglaonema. I love that it's got that like minty green variegation. The leaves look like seafoam indeed. And I love that it's got more rounded leaves. I was actually tempted to purchase it. Now, if it was in the $45 range, I definitely would have purchased it. But for $70, I had to hold off on that particular one. I'm hoping to acquire an Aglaonema seafoam. It was my first time seeing it. And, you know, with these silver foliage, minty color plants, I am all about that. And, you know, it was a healthy looking specimen. I'm going to check Etsy to see if they have it, or if you are somebody that sells an Aglaonema seafoam, a smaller one, I would definitely be interested in purchasing that. So leave that in the comments, or if somebody knows where I can acquire one, leave that in the comments as well. Again, Aglaonema come in so many different varieties of shapes, colors, sizes, and definitely pricing. In my PlantCon video for day 1 part 2, I showcased the most expensive, or actually the part 3, the most expensive Aglaonema in the world currently, and that is an Aglaonema crown of Siam. It happened to make it to
Plant Con in Dallas, so that was interesting. And you can see right here they've got a speckled golden dragon right over there. Love that as well. And they had some whale fins. But that Aglaonema seafoam, I think of all the plants that I saw from this booth, this was the one I was most interested in because it's a plant you just really don't see. And that's the thing, you'll see a lot of the variegated Syndapsis, for instance, is a variegated Syndapsis mayari, variegated Adansonia, variegated monstera, but it's always nice to see plants that you may have heard of or may not have heard of. That's just what makes them unique. And that Aglaonema seafoam was one that I definitely wanted to purchase. We'll see what that looks like. I think I just have to work harder. I need to be able to push out more content for you guys. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed my Plant Con videos so far. I just really felt like, it would be something that can give people an idea of what a plant con or a plant convention would look like. And I could tell that they were, a Filipino plant vendor, because you can see right there, they had the rays of the sun. That's actually part of the Philippine flag, right on top of this Philodendron yopii. I also want to get a Philodendron yopii. Actually, any Philodendron in general, I want to actually add to my collection because they are just such easy plants in terms of like a tropical plant. There are some that are a little bit more fussy. I would say the ones that are more velvety leaf shape tend to be more fussy, but in general, you can definitely grow Philodendron. I would feel like Philodendron are good starter plants. And you can see right here, they had crates of different plants. They had even outdoor plants. They had plants that were priced at $10, $15, $20. So they just had so many varieties. And you can see they even had their uncommon and rare plants as well. So they had a mixture of different types of plants. I did notice that they sold through a lot of their plants as well, which is always exciting because you want to see a plant vendor sell through plants. Now, this is one of my top four favorite plant vendors out of Plant Con 2024 in Dallas, and that is the D&M Secret Garden, which featured Japanese pothos or Epipremnum aureum Toruno series. You can see that there's quite a bit of them. And talking to May, she was the one that was actually selling these pothos. She's actually the one of the few people in the United States that has the licensing rights to sell Toruno pothos. So Toruno pothos plants are Japanese pothos that were actually produced out in Japan, and all of these plants were actually found through mutations. So what it was explained to me is that Japanese pothos are actually found from a specific type of leaf that just mutated, and they propagated it over and over to keep that characteristic. And so you have so many different nuances in the variegation. Now, when it comes down to it, Japanese culture in general has very particular, minute details in whatever they do, whether it's origami with the specific folds, whether it's bonsai with the specific shapes of the plants, or Japanese pothos, whether it's just a variegation. Like this one right here is for $38. You can see that the leaf has a different texture, and just looking at them very closely, like this is a Toruno Carnival. I wanted to get this because look at that variegation. You can see there's some neon speckling going on. And then you can see right here, this is a Wakakusa Epipremnum aureum Toruno pothos. And you can see that it looks like a variegated version of a neon pothos, but you can see that the carnival is, I think May was trying to explain that these were actually mutations from each other. So I really like that. There is a whole family of Toruno pothos. There is a diagram that I wish I could find so you can see where all of the mutations came from, where all of the lineage of the pothos plant came from. Now, people will say that these pothos plants were a little bit pricey. Yes, they were either $40 up to $150, maybe even $200, but you have to understand that these plants are not readily available. So when a plant is not readily available and there is a demand for it, the plant pricing is going to be there. And honestly, the amount of effort it took to produce these plants through very meticulous attention to like the different types of variegation, I totally understand why. Like this one right here, Epipremna aureum Himiko, really like the look of Himiko because it's got that Aurea neon color, but it also reminds you of like almost like a Marble Queen pothos. And then you can see over here, plant foldies, they have so many different varieties. Like I keep seeing this one, and then there's this one right here, that Carnival Toruno pothos. It's awesome. I regret not being able to purchase one, but like the Wakakusa, for instance,
I should have bought this. Like, it's such a beautiful pothos plant. So if you are into pothos, you definitely want to look into Japanese pothos. I would definitely, follow D&M Secret Garden on Instagram. They also have a Facebook group. Like you can see right here, this is an Epipremnum aureum Toruno fanfare. Love that variegation. Some people will say that looks like a neon, a marble queen pothos, but if you look at the leaf shape, it's way more narrow than a marble queen pothos. Love that as well. And pothos plants in general, I mentioned this before, rare pothos, it's a little bit hard for me to spend 3 digits for a pothos because I know that a pothos would easily propagate through water propagation. So like, she did inspire me to look at some of my pothos plants, try to find maybe an interesting variegated leaf, see if that same mutation will repeat itself, because that's basically how these Japanese pothos were created. Like for instance, this one right here, Epipremnum aureum Taruna shalala, this almost reminds me of like a Yesenia pothos. Look at that ghost variegation on it with the yellow, very minute details. And again, plant foldies, that's the cool thing about going to PlantCon. That was the cool thing about going to PlantCon 2024 in Dallas, to be able to see Japanese pothos. And I have always been the type of person that has always been into pothos. I believe that most people probably started their their houseplant journey by getting a golden pothos. I recommend pothos plant, even the Japanese pothos that are a little bit pricey. If you want one, I would say they are still easy to care for plants. Give them bright indirect light, water when their soil is about 60% dry, and you should be good to go. But if you are going to buy Japanese pothos like the Toruno series, definitely provide them with quite a bit of bright indirect light. I feel like if you don't provide them enough light, they may revert back to green. So there's always going to be a risk for that. Now, I don't know 100% if their variegation is going to be as stable. I know, for instance, like the marble queen pothos, if you don't give it enough light, it tends to be more greenish versus like that creamy white. But right over there, you can see that one is a beautiful one. And May was actually explaining to me, and I'm so thankful she gave me all the time to talk about how these pothos plants were created. Again, plant foldies, if you like pothos, if you haven't made it to hit the like button on this video, please do. But you can see she is showing me all of the different mutations on the leaves. And that was what was super cool about talking to May, is the fact that she actually traveled to Japan. She was able to get into the Toruno nursery and actually, I think, worked there for a little bit and really learn about pothos. Like, this one is my favorite one, and I should have bought this. I think it was for $150. So this is a Epipremnum aureum Japanese global. So it's basically, I think, a mutation from the global green, but look at how beautiful that is. It almost reminds you of like Manjula vibes, but it has a very much yellow tone about it as well, with the white on it. So really beautiful plant. And another pothos that I would have totally bought would have been like the Epipremnum aureum Sunshine and Love Song. Those were gorgeous plants. And you can see right here, this is the Sunshine. So it reminds me of the Shangri-La. It looks like spinach leaves. Very, very slow growing plant. That is one of the Toruno pothos, the Shangri-La, but that one's the Aurea form. And you can see that Japanese global pothos, beautiful plant. And I've started to see a little bit more of Japanese pothos heading into the market in the United States. But obviously, if you are looking for Japanese pothos, this was the plant booth that you needed to go to, because this actually had the full line of released Toruno Japanese pothos. Like, if I had $1,000, I would have probably been able to buy every single one, and then we would have called it a day, and I would have had all the Japanese pothos. But again, alas, I don't have that type of money to spend on plants just in one sitting. Now, whether I spend $1,000 on plants in the last 3 months, that's something that I may not necessarily say out publicly, but you can kind of read between the voiceover. But anyways, plant foldies, as you can see right here, tons of different types of Japanese pothos. She has these ones. These are her mother plants. So this one is really cool. The Enjoy Gold pothos was really cool, because look at that variegation. It looks like a highly variegated golden pothos, but when you start to look at the nuances of the leaves, it is definitely a different cultivar. And then you can see all of the other ones here. I think all of these are her most prized possession pothos, like this Epipremnum aureum Love Song on the pole. What a gorgeous plant. Now, when I asked her where she grows these plants, she says she does grow these pothos outside, which I always think that if you're going to grow plants, if you're able to grow them outdoors in like bright indirect light, they tend to just do better versus growing them indoors. Even if you're going to grow them with like grow lights, humidifiers, something about being outside tends to help the plant grow. Like this one right here, for instance, is another pothos that I wanted to buy, Epipremnum aureum Amazon, because look at that variegation. It's definitely different than what you would see as in North America or most American pothos, or just pothos that you see worldwide. Japanese pothos have a different characteristic, and I was just really happy and thankful that I've been able to like film it, and definitely to be able to talk to May. I am always open to like filming her pothos. She is also based out in Texas, so that is super exciting. I hope that there is more awareness for Japanese pothos. If you're watching my PlantCon video, please do your research, Google search it, check it out, join her Facebook group, the DNM Secret Garden, Pothos. There's a Pothos World, I believe, Facebook group, so you can see all of the gorgeous pothos, because this is actually one of my classic plants that I definitely want to add to my collection. It'd be really nice to at least start with the Japanese global pothos. If I were going to ask for, you know, a Christmas gift or something, I would want the Epipremnum aureum excellent. This one is for $160. So this is the Asaoka excellent, and you can see that it looks like a pearls and jade, but if you notice, the leaves are smaller and they're more narrow. And that's the thing about these Japanese pothos, just the very small nuances and details in the leaf shape and variegation. Like right here, Epipremnum aureum lime compacta. So this one tends to be a little bit smaller in growth, and it's also a little bit more compact in its growth, which makes it more interesting. And then obviously the sunshine pothos, gotta love that as well. And then also the love song pothos is probably one of my second favorite Japanese pothos. Really like the look of it as well. Epipremnum aureum crystal green. What a beautiful pothos. Look at that. It's got like yellow speckling on its leaves, and it has that new growth where it's almost white, a yellow and white. Beautiful plant. It's another plant that I definitely would add to my collection because I love neon colored plants, yellow plants. You already know plant foldies. That is up my alley, and that is definitely a pothos plant that I'm hoping to someday acquire. I'm going to see if May is going to have some more of these plants readily available. I may just need to save a little bit more money, or perhaps if the plant pricing goes down on these pothos, I may be able to purchase it. But you know, there's just a lot of plants that we all want. You know, there is a need for plants. There is a want for plants. There is a necessity for plants. So you really just have to assess which of the three and then see if that is actually going to justify whether you purchase the plant or not. The Japanese pothos though, if they were just a little less pricey, like even if they were in like the $40-50 range, I would invest in it. I just couldn't afford to spend over $100 on some of these pothos plants, even though they were so beautiful. I totally understand the plant pricing, and I still recommend everybody to look into them and even purchase them, because I mean, look at that variegation right there. Beautiful plant. And Japanese pothos, and when you think about it, if you're going to ever try to import them, they're from the Teruno nursery. It would just be challenging to purchase them and then just be able to import them. So it's really cool that May has done the plant community in the United States justice by having that. I also thought about buying the Epipremnum alplicimum true silver. So it almost looks like a narrow, smaller form of the silver, the silver, what is it? The silver sword Philodendron, but that one is just an Epipremnum alplicimum. So she tends to go toward the more pothos plants, Epipremnum pinnatum, and maybe some of the Philodendron hederaceums, but this one was a beautiful one, and that's another pothos that I wish I would have purchased as well. PlantCon in Houston, I'm hoping that she'll show her her Japanese pothos. Maybe within a couple of weeks, I may scrounge up some money to be able to purchase some plants. I'm actually gonna film the Texas Air ROHO in the hopes that she would be there as well. And then I'm actually going to have a list. I'm actually going to have a budget price, a range of what plants I want to purchase, and we'll see what that looks like. But as far as all of these beautiful pothos plants, again, we definitely need to take a look at that. Like this is another Japanese pothos right here. This one was not for sale. Now I don't know the plant ID, but if you look at how gorgeous that variegation is, that is definitely different from a typical golden pothos. That is not a golden pothos, because if you look at the variegation on that leaf, super cool. And I'm just curious because I don't live in Japan. Obviously, I've never been to Japan. That is one of my like dream destinations. Do all of these pothos plants, are these like readily available at Japanese plant stores? Somebody who has insights, leave it in the comments. And then now we're going to live with plants. Now this was another importer, a Thailand vendor. Look at how gorgeous these plants are. There were quite a bit of these plants. And again, when it comes down to these international plant vendors, they tend to have the more exclusive variegated plants, the plants that you may not see in the typical market. I mean, you can see right here, variegated Aglaonema. I'm glad I actually ended up getting one of these from the Indonesian plant vendor, but this one was also a beautiful one for $50. I hope to be able to visit Thailand someday because I want to also see all of these cool looking plants. But this plant vendor had some amazing plants, and if you look at the plant pricing for a lot of the plants he had available, they were fair. They were really nice looking large plants with really good variegation. Like here is a Homolamena pink diamond, and I know somebody was saying that I didn't mention all of the plant pricing. Honestly, in some of my plant con videos from day one, some of the plants were just not priced, so I wouldn't been able to do that. And then number two, I already flashed the plant ID name and also the plant price. I just felt like I didn't have to repeat myself. But for instance, in this case, I don't know how much that costs. I think the whole box says $100, and really I would have probably bought that had I not spent all of my budget on day one. That's what happens with day two. You pretty much have no money, but I just wanted to come back on day one since it didn't take that long for me to get down to watch, to see the plant con and then see if there were certain things that I did not end up getting. I did end up getting two plants. One of them was a Syngonium strawberry eyes. Super excited about that. That was from Rena's greenhouse. And then I ended up getting a plant from this vendor, which I will talk about at the end of the video. Over here is a Philodendron variegated caramel marble. That's another wish list plant of mine. It's still quite expensive. I love the serrated leaves. I definitely want to collect all of those. And then this is a variegated, I think, Philodendron micans, but look at that tricolor. That's so stunning. And then we have a Philodendron variegated Billetier, as well as a variegated Monstera laniata for $50. So this one has more of that Aurea variegation. I've seen a lot of the minty yellow variegation, but that one I did not see a lot of. I love that green on green, almost Aurea variegation that they had. And then this is another variegated Monstera laniata for $50. So when I see Live with Plants again, I've been kind of corresponding with him. He was such a nice guy. I'm hoping to purchase plants from him as well. I always have confidence in buying plants that are imported from Thailand because, again, they just have some really good variegated plants. I feel like when you think about variegation, you need to have plants that have good initial genetics, and I would say the ones from Thailand and Indonesia tend to have that. Philodendron variegated Orlando. This is another plant that was amazing that I wish I would have purchased. That has got some beautiful variegation on it as well. I mean, take a look of that. And, to find a Philodendron Orlando is already rare, but to see a variegated form is even more rare. So this is definitely the booth that for those that really like those variegated aeroids, variegated Philodendron, you needed to go to. Like this one right here is a variegated ZZ plant. He also had a bunch of like hybrid Anthurium seeds to be sold. You can see that there are some tissue culture plants there, which I will talk about later. But here is some Raven ZZ Pink variegated. This one is for $150, and it is still quite rare to find. I do like that it's a dark foliage plant. I wish I would have been able to afford it, but alas, again, you know, when it comes down to it, again, plant foldies, that is going to be challenging. But you can see right there, that is a Monstera green snow, which is basically a mutation of the Monstera Thai constellation. There were some tissue cultures of that, and I did want to talk about that later in the video because I ended up doing something that I wasn't sure if I needed to do at PlantCon, which is basically purchasing a tissue cultured plant, but I got it for a good price. Anyways, going back to this booth, you can see right over here, there are lots of different types of philodendron. This one is a Philodendron Pink Princess Galaxy. Beautiful plant as well. You can see that there's quite a bit of variegation. So, you know, with Philodendron Pink Princess, there's so many strands of it now. Some of them have better variegation than others. And again, the same thing with Philodendron Orange Princess. Like this one is phenomenal. Look at that variegation. Look at the leaf size. Now, I'm not sure how much that plant pricing costs for it, but Philodendron Orange Princess would be another philodendron I would love to add into my collection just because the orange coloration is really nice. I ended up finding like an Aglaonema, you know, what is it, like that was like orange. So we'll see what that looks like long term for me. But anyways, this one is another plant vendor that had some plants that were imported. I believe these ones were actually based out in South America. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but you can see that they have quite a bit of different types of plants. They actually had some of these plants on sale. And I noticed that at PlantCon 2024, second day, there were a lot of people like kind of liquidating their plants. Maybe it's because some of the plant vendors didn't want to take it back, or maybe they just wanted to get rid of their plants. Either way, for those that were looking for plants to be a little bit less expensive, day 2 would have been a good time to purchase plants. On the negative side though, if you wait to purchase your plants during day 2, you probably would have not gotten the best plants, because I'm telling you, the first 30 minutes after general admission happened at 10 o'clock, day 1, everybody was just running around buying all the plants, and to the point where a lot of the really cool plants were already sold through. But you can see right here, they do have a plethora of different types of plants. Like this is an interesting Calathea. I just wish, you know, plant foldies, I'd be able to grow Calathea successfully. I may introduce a Calathea into my plant collection once I get my plant room set up. We just have to see what that looks like. I know that on Tuesday, which would be tomorrow, I am off. So maybe once I get that whole plant room together with my humidifiers, my grow lights, all of that, we'll see what that looks like, because right now I am inundated with quite a bit of plants. Now here is Rena's greenhouse again. I am looking at her Stephaniana suberosa plants. She's got the non-variegated forms and the variegated forms. So we'll see what that looks like in terms of whether I end up getting one of these plants. The variegated form looks so beautiful. I just don't know a lot about this plant. So plant foldies, again, if you have any idea about the plant care or the plant care tips, please let me know. And then she also has some mature Epipremnum Epipremnum pinnatum yellow flame. Beautiful plant. But this one right here, look at that variegation. It is so stunning. Even the green form is great. Like just Rena's greenhouse, she has some amazing plants, and I had to go do a double take just because she had some really good healthy plants. They were packed well, they were priced well. There was still quite a bit of variety. Day 2, most of her plants already sold through. She had so many Alocasia variegated Fridex. I would probably say she had the best Syngonium strawberry ice out of any plant vendor at PlantCon, and that's really saying a lot considering everybody had some really good looking plants. But for Rena, she definitely had it. You know, mabuhay to all of the Filipino plant vendors there. Definitely want to support and shout you guys out. Again, you know, you always want to support what you call your kababayans, and it's always fun to meet other Filipinos out there, just because in the Philippines, plants is very much intertwined with our culture, and just to see, you know, plant vendors showcasing all of these gorgeous plants. Like, look at this Monstera Burley Marks Flame. I am just in awe. I just need it all. And, you know, PlantCon, it was just such a good weekend. Now, was it a very tiring weekend for me? Yes, because I literally spent 8 hours on the first day filming and a good 5 to 6 hours on the second day, just really trying to soak in an event that we've all been waiting for. And I cannot wait to go to PlantCon in Houston next year in May. I'm already planning for it. I'm already trying to get my little Airbnb together there. Hopefully I can get me some early access tickets, because I will be filming even more content for our Grow Folds community, our Plant Foldies. And again, Plant Foldies, if you made it this far, thank you so much for sticking through and watching my PlantCon 2024 Dallas videos. I have a playlist. I may end up just doing one big compilation of long playing for the PlantCon. And then just if you haven't made it to my PlantCon Houston video, definitely check that out. I've noticed that PlantCon has really made some great improvement. And, this is just kind of like my final pan around. You can see they still had quite a bit of people. I wanted to stay till the very end, but at that point I was super tired. I ended up not getting a lot to eat just because I've been walking around and really just trying to film this plant. It did take a lot of effort, but it was just really nice to be able to hang out in a place where there were so many plants. So you can see right here, they had some PlantCon stickers for free. And again, thank you to the PlantCon staff for really putting this together, for everybody that was involved, for all the plant vendors that invested their time. You guys are awesome. And for all the locals and folks that were not from Dallas that came out for PlantCon, y'all just made it so much fun. I'm looking at another plant vendor. I forgot which plant vendor this was, but it was another plant vendor that had a bunch of import plants available. So you can see that a lot of those international vendors tended to have a lot of the variegated plants, as well as this Anthurium. Look at how gorgeous this Anthurium is. I would have taken that Anthurium home. Just know that now that I've discovered the awesomeness of pond and semi-hydroponics, I will start to put a lot of my more quote finicky plants in that to see if that's going to make my plant care a little bit easier. But you can see right there, like, I wish I could just take this whole box of Anthuriums. That would just be awesome if I could afford all of that. But alas, we all have to work a little bit hard. I know that if you talk to anybody who went to PlantCon, their budget was shot. Their budget was gone. But it was all worth it. I feel like it was all worth it. Maybe it's just me having to talk myself through and then take a look at my credit card bill at the end of the month. But at the end of the day, you don't see these plants often. You don't get these opportunities to pick these uncommon and rare plants in person versus having to buy them, online. It's always nice. Like this one right here, I should have bought that plant. There's a lot of plants I should have bought, but it's always about the fun. So Plant Foldies, again, let me know in the comments what you thought of all of the PlantCon plants you saw. Which were some of your favorite vendors? What plants do you eventually want to purchase? Leave that all in the comments. I am curious and I really do want to know, because pretty much every single vendor I ran into, there was a plant that I wanted to purchase. But there is one more vendor I did want to go back and take a look at, and that is the Zaddy Plant Therapy. Now, this is a plant vendor from California, based out in California. You can see that this vendor has quite a bit of uncommon and rare plants. They were more just very niche plants. If you like those variegated plants, this is the place you go. If you wanted to get some really cool looking Syngoniums, this was the place to go. But like this one, for instance, is Syngonium Pink Salmon, for instance. I think this was for what, $35. I definitely want to get this plant. This is another one of those Syngoniums I don't have. I am happy that I am replenishing my Syngonium collection. I feel like a lot of my Syngoniums have been rehabbed and are looking better. Whenever you want to grow Syngoniums, if you take them outside, if they're not doing well inside, take them outside, give it about a month, and they will bounce back, or at least that's my experience, and it has worked for me. Over here, Syngonium Strawberry Ice. This one doesn't have nearly as great variegation, but needless to say, I do like that dark foliage. With Syngonium Strawberry Ice, the only problem with that Syngonium is it is a very slow grower. Most Syngoniums are pretty vigorous growers. That one is not. And then this was another Aglaonema that I wanted to buy. This is an Aglaonema Emerald Pink. Beautiful Aglaonema color. Again, I just don't understand why people are not talking about Aglaonemas, or why people in the United States are just not Googling over Aglaonemas. Like, that is a beautiful plant, and it's an easy to care for plant that has so many different varieties. It's just crazy but maybe it's because we don't get these different types of varieties of Aglaonema available. Typically, when you go to a big box store, you'll see like an Aglaonema Silver Bay, an Aglaonema Red Siam, you know, maybe an Aglaonema Maria. But those are beautiful plants. And again, plant foldies, if you are new to Aglaonema, do your research, try growing an Aglaonema. I really hope that we can continue to get more interest in that plant. Now, this one right here, beautiful Philodendron, Congo nuclear, beautiful plant. And then you can see they got some more variegated plants right over here. Like, I don't know what this is. I think this is a variegated domesticanum. Beautiful variegation. I love how the new leaf unfurls to be more of like a neon color. And then you can see right there, there's another Aglaonema pink emerald right there. Love that. I love this this booth. This is another booth that I needed to go buy some plants from, but alas, you know, my budget, it just ran out. I'm just telling you, plant foldies, I just ran out of money. And that's okay, because I got the majority of plants that I did get at PlantCon. They were worth it. If you haven't seen my PlantCon haul of all the plants, definitely check that out. Again, I do have a PlantCon playlist, so if you want to binge me on that and just watch that one evening, definitely do that. I would love it. And just leave some comments for me. Now, this one right here is a Philodendron Whipple Way. So it looks similar to a Philodendron Snowdrift, but this is far more expensive of a Philodendron. This one is more of like the juvenile form. And then we have some more of my wish list plants. Let's take a look at some of the other plants we have over here. You can see we have, let me see if I can bring this down, another type of Syngonium. Now, I don't know what the Syngonium is. Oh, it is a Syngonium variegated batik. I happen to own this variegated Syngonium batik. This one is selling for, I think, $85. I saw some people selling it for $100. I got mine for such a good price, and I'm super happy because the variegated Syngonium batik is actually not a slow growing Syngonium, so I'll be able to propagate it, possibly sell it, possibly give it as gifts. We'll see. Now, here is another Philodendron variegated caramel marble. This is more of the juvenile form. Still really expensive plant. That one is for $265. And then we also have another one right over here. So if anybody ever wants to give me a plant, you can give me a Philodendron caramel marble. I would love it. There's just so many plants. And I actually ended up getting a gift from one of my plant foldy viewers. Kevin, again, thank you so much for the variegated alocasia you left at Peta's Planters. That was super kind of you. I did not expect that at all, but that's what makes the plant foldies group, the plant foldies that watch my videos, just the best viewers and subscribers ever. You guys have always been kind to me, and I hope that I still continue bringing you guys some type of plant entertainment. The live premiere chats are always fun because you guys always tune in to chat with me on a nightly basis. And now I know that the last couple of days I haven't been able to produce daily ones, but I have tried. Now, this is another Monstera Thai constellation at Steve's Leaves. So, you know, I'll be wrapping up this day 2 at PlantCon in Dallas 2024. But I will say that this has been such an amazing experience. I've met so many cool people. I've met so many plant foldies, and I've been able to see beautiful Monsteras like this. This is from Wild Roots. I did want to come around here and show you how gorgeous this plant is. Now, if I could only afford it, I would have totally bought it because that is a showstopper of a Monstera. Wild Roots is one of my favorite new nurseries that I got to really see their plants. I'm so thankful that I was able to find that plant as well, just that plant nursery, and just being able to meet the family behind Wild Roots. Definitely want to wish them the best of luck as they continue to grow their business. I'm hoping that I will also be able to travel to New Braunfels to film their plants, because when I say they had some amazing plants, that is an understatement. And I did want to show you, this is a Monstera Green Snow that I am hoping to be able to grow my tissue culture plant. So it's basically a little plant vial that I bought for $20. The risky part about tissue culture is how do you acclimate that plant? I did some research, so I am going to be filming the journey. Now, if you like this video, please hit the like button. As always, please subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next one.